We're live.
I just got a notification of that. I'm sure that was my phone
Yep,
just now.
This is
yep.
the vegan
No,
anarchist.
it's not.
I'm
And
in
I'm
the
not.
stream. Shut
You
up.
don't see me. I'm no longer on camera.
I am because I think I have fabulous hair. I've been told I have fabulous hair. Hello, I'm some random geek here, well known to
And we're
the
all a bunch of nut jobs talking to a stream with 0 viewers.
is
Hey, have
hold
you seen
on.
my dog?
Is, oh, hello there. Hi,
My
doggy.
headphones are
Oh,
on, so you can't hear
yep.
me, but
hmm
he's
I mean,
like
I'm
15 years
pretty sure I
old.
have. I have a picture of my cat on my phone that I could put out on Twitter, but I wouldn't be able to show it on this stream.
Yeah. I don't have any pets right now, sadly, and I live in an apartment. So if I do take in that one stray that's just like hanging around, other people are feeding it and petting it, of course. But like if I take in that one stray, it'd be like, all right, here you go, $250 for reasons.
Yeah.
Honestly, I have
Oh yeah.
ethical
Don't you live in
costs.
Seattle?
I live in the suburb of Seattle. Yes.
Oh, so yeah, living in that area, it's like that's a super gentrified area.
Yeah, it wouldn't surprise me. Yeah.
Fuck it. God damn it. I gotta open this up. Also, Gwen, if you're watching, you need to put me on your next stupid tweets episode. Not my tweets. You gotta have me on the show. I want to be on stupid tweets, or I want to host stupid tweets.
Yeah, make me on there,
But you've
Gwen.
already taken hosting it, so I have to hope for the latter.
Yeah, Gwen, put me on your tweets. Me before Rose, because
Oh my.
because I'm prettier.
Okay.
Hello, Gwen,
Well,
if you are watching this.
uh, Gwen is our one viewer. Actually, I'm not even sure.
I
Where
think
the
that's me.
I just started there were 2 viewers, and I haven't even found where there's the hangout. Wait. All right. I'm hearing myself backwards. I'm speaking in tongues. I'm Satan.
Ave Satanas.
Yep. Oh yeah. You know, and something I found out today, thanks to one of the people in the chat, is so the okay. So the link to it is in here. I'm trying to remember the site. It's like freedom something. Uh, see, professional. Am I right? Peak professionalism.
Yep.
Oh, I've got a guy trying to interview me who I fucking have left like hanging for months just because like he's trying to do like this. He lives in the UK. He's been trying to do like this text interview and fucking really bad at keeping up with text. You
Mm.
know, someone I'm much better with like voice or video chats or things like that.
Me too.
But yeah, so what freedomnews.org.uk adding to the anarchist media list. The Anarchist Federation in London launched a new podcast yesterday, adding welcome new voice to what is
They
currently.
didn't include me though. I'm mad at them.
Well, it wasn't a comprehensive list. They did say that there were a whole bunch of people like that. They basically had to like boil down the list.
And they
I
didn't
mean,
include me,
they
even though I have a
probably.
1,000+ subscribers.
I mean, they were trying to go for, or from what I'm assuming is, it looks like they were trying to go for like people who do different things, and they kind of left out the more vloggy type channels from what it seems like.
So they
Uh,
purposely discriminate against me.
uh, Probably not. It was probably more that it's there's so many like vlog channels are like the most common style. Like in my experience, it seems like that's the most common style for an anarchist channel is like a more vlog heavy channel where someone like talks into a camera, and it's
Mhm.
kind of hard with if that's like the most common one, it's hard to pick one. You're gonna hurt somebody's feelings somewhere along the line.
Yeah, but I have
Although
more
that's not.
views. I always have more subs than you do, though.
Look, it's not a dick measuring contest.
I know, but I'm just saying, like, at least if you have to pick
Why?
one, you
Why
have
are
to
you?
pick me.
I didn't even know I made this list until you shared it with me. I didn't even know this list was a fucking thing.
This
But
list wanted me to quit YouTube, okay?
All right. Okay, let me read the article.
It
Yeah,
made
I'm
me
not trying to
feel
be.
undervalued, appreciated by the anarchist community. As a matter of fact, I was sad, and then
Mm.
I showed up, and I'm decided to live my truth because who cares
Well, I
what people
mean,
think.
just if you look at how few people are in the list, most people in the anarchist community got left off.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, just so. Okay, let's read the article. So the Anarchist Federation in London launched a new podcast yesterday, adding a welcome new voice to what is currently a very short list of anarchist audio outlets, which we're collating below. The podcast is structured in a topical magazine format, with book reviews, comment, and news being covered across a 15-minute program. The capital has largely been down to just one regular show since the closure of Circle A, as Fuck the Bins joins Distant Island Radio to hopefully offer regular audio take on matters of interest to anarchists. The English-speaking anarchist movement, particularly in Britain, the US has the excellent Channel Zero for daily content, has been slow on the uptake for audio-visual input over the last few years. Despite producing copious content, individual campaign groups such as Reclaim the Power and The Situation is just as bad for video, with just 4 groups mostly infrequently running sustained channels alongside the non-anarchist but friendly Real News. London AFED, United Voices of the World, IWGB, Sheffield IWW. More general YouTube fare. That's not to say there is no anarchist video content at all. Freedom has looked into a master list of leftist channels which has been going round Reddit and whittled it down to something a bit more manageable. Notable, however, is that below, beyond the excellent stimulator, none are offering regular news takes, and almost none have an entirely regular production schedule. Some of us can't. I've tried to at least do once a month, but
I'm
basically my job
depressed
said,
half the
"Fuck you,
time.
we're gonna up your hours to over 50 hours a week now. You're gonna be working overtime every fucking day.
Yeah.
I'm depressed half the
You're gonna be working
time.
Saturdays too.
And I
Today I
live
said,
with
fuck you, I'm not coming in. You can't afford to fire me, so I feel safe in doing whatever the fuck I want."
I'm depressed half the time, and I live with other people, so it's not like I can whenever I want.
Yeah, and I work
Yeah.
part time because I have to. So it's like and the videos where I make where it's just like simple. I just saw this movie last night or some time ago.
I definitely don't think that they're trying to shame people for not having regular schedules either. From the sound of it, I think they're just kind of saying, "Oh yeah, by the way, these channels do not have a regular schedule, so don't fret if you don't see from them for a while."
Yeah, exactly. And also, I'm kind of curious, like, wait a minute, how did this one get on the master list of leftist YouTube and stuff like that?
I think it might just be I think there might have actually been a thing called a master list of YouTubers going around on Reddit or something. I don't know.
And
I
they
don't check
did
out
have
Reddit,
me.
but from the set, I don't know.
Well, if it's Reddit, fuck you.
Yeah. I don't go on Reddit.
Fuck you, Reddit. Fuck you, Reddit. You can suck my dick.
Except
You can't get me, Reddit. You're just God.
Y'all my homies. Except for r/veganarchist because y'all my homies.
Okay, yeah. That's my. I haven't been on Reddit at all. I know of it, and so I know how it works. I just know
I've been on Reddit exactly twice in my life.
I think that's the same number I've been on Reddit and stuff like that. I have seen some cool things, but yeah, I've been on Reddit because I've heard of the Overwatch porn subreddits.
Yeah, I mean, I even basically shut down my Discord just because my Discord. Honestly, there weren't a lot of people joining my Discord. The people that were supposed to be helping me manage my Discord didn't have enough of a schedule, and I didn't want to be sitting there constantly managing everything, making sure something was going on. So it was just kind of like, there's not enough people for it to be active, so people started dropping out, and I'm just kind of like, with the I've already got enough social media, and I'm focused on everything else. Maybe I should call things that I'm doing.
Yeah,
That's
I
kind of what's
haven't.
going on with YouTube, is that it's like, I don't have time for myself anymore. So, I
Mhm.
had to cut back on my YouTube time because, I'm not going to,
Yeah.
I love YouTube. I love the people on YouTube. I love doing these hangouts.
Mm-hmm.
And,
Thank you very much.
if I had the time, I would put a lot more time into it.
Mm-hmm.
I do want to have some semblance of a personal life. And I mean, that's really
Yeah,
a thing when
exactly.
you're a leftist, is that it's not really an option. If you're a leftist, chances are you don't have the money for it to be an option to
Yeah.
to have like a regular YouTube channel schedule, and to have it be like a job. A
Mm-hmm.
lot of people, a lot of people who do make it work, they had to start out as irregular channels, mainly just because they couldn't get funding for their channels.
Mm-hmm.
My Patreon, I think, makes like 20 something dollars. Not, I don't make a lot a month off of Patreon. It's,
WTF? I only made $8.08.
Yeah.
yeah, so it's not a lot. It's not like I make enough money on Patreon for this to just be a job.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I live in a gentrified city where rent is easily more than 30 times. No, easily more than but more than 75 times what I make on Patreon. And that's just pay for rent. That would be if I was paying rent and not eating.
Yeah, exactly. You're just like,
Slowly
that's not
starving to death. I
I
do
have
it
a
because I love you,
question.
YouTube.
How did CounterPoints manage to do that, though?
yeah, I don't know how she did it. I think she worked a lot of odd jobs before like her channel just suddenly took off. And like so she was an Uber driver for a while. She
So
hated that.
why did your channel take off?
That's a good question. I mean, she always had like good production values, as it was one thing, or just like a decent ending, decent content. I just honestly think that I don't know. It's really, I really don't know why her channel got picked up. I mean, she always had like some big YouTubers that retweeted her channel, and she's been on streams with other big YouTubers.
Oh yeah, I was around I was on the ContraPoints train before it was like a train.
Yeah,
I was on the
exactly.
ContraPoints train when it was like a small car with a few people in it, because
Mm-hmm.
I had been around in like YouTube progressive circles with the likes of Christy Winters and you when there was kind of like a far left and social justice kind of alliance, which that
Mm-hmm.
alliance isn't completely severed, but there's
Yeah,
definitely been like schisms there, which
yeah.
Yeah, I've
it's
been
more
involved with a
you
few
know
schisms
there's
because
some tisking going at the radical leftists of don't do that, it's bad.
oh yeah, like when I
It's bad to punch Nazis. Stop it.
No,
oh
it's
like when
Stop
I
punching Richard Spencer in his stupid fucking face.
or when I advocate that marginalized people arm themselves with weapons,
Oh
yeah.
yeah,
got me a lot of shit from
don't
liberals.
don't
Yeah.
go against gun control.
Fuck
Yeah,
gun
yeah.
control.
Don't have a nuanced opinion on guns. Conservatives have a similar opinion that it's like, if you don't think guns are the biggest godsend ever, you're gonna. What's funny is I think the radical left are kind of the true centrists on gun rights. We kind
You're
of
right.
recognize. I mean, on the left, we kind of recognize like the necessity for some people just to have firearms, but we're not like
Yeah,
we don't think that firearms are some kind of permanent solution. We
yeah,
just think
exactly.
that I think that if you believe in revolutionary politics, you have to believe that firearms are at least somewhat a means to that end. Like firearms need to be like something talked about, not just something banned.
Yeah, exactly. And revolutionary politics, anyway, is just like it's inherently violent as well because those who
So are
make
reactionary politics and even liberal politics. All politics are violent.
yes, exactly. You're correct. But like those who make reform impossible make revolution inevitable, or if something like that. I'm paraphrasing the quote and stuff like that. So
Yeah, I think that was a JFK quote, actually. I don't know. I might. I don't know. I remember seeing it in a Rise Against.
I think
Oh, okay.
gun control laws are too able.
Oh, I'm like against gun. I'm against gun control legislation because those people can't be trusted. It really, that's what it is politicians can't be trusted to do it or to do any kind of gun control. But I mean, the thing too is, the way I see it as an anarchist, no matter what, no matter whether you have liberal democracy or you have fascism or you have anarchism, you no matter what, there's going to be some form of violence. Really, the difference between these politics is is who monopolizes that violence. If you're an anarchist, you don't believe in monopolizing violence anywhere, and that basically everybody has to have. You need to collectively distribute the violence. Basically, instead of having a police force that can be corrupted and just go on and just kill unarmed black people or decide and basically be judge, jury, and executioner, having
get
people
away with that, and get away with it without repercussions whatsoever. Yeah, exactly.
It's similar to how the Black Panthers viewed things, which is that it's not that we're big fans of these guns, it's that we're being attacked by police and we're being attacked by fascists and white nationalists. And this is guns are kind of just a means of defense.
Wait, isn't today non-binary day? Just questioning.
Oh yeah, today is International Non-Binary Day.
Oh, welcome, MBs. Hello, MBs. You are all valid and you are all beautiful. The beautiful day.
Speaking of, I think I went to my first Pride last month.
Oh, how was it?
It was fun. We were part of the Fuck Cops contingent. There was a whole contingent that basically it was called Get Cops Out of Pride. And I got this sticker here that I'm moving a lot of wires to show you.
I was too broke to go Pride.
Yeah,
my fucking desk is a mess. I'm glad that people on the internet never fucking see my desk because I've got a controller, I've got nipple rings,
my desk is too.
Charger box, an Xbox 360, a Wii that I haven't used in years, might I add.
That's the same thing with all of my that's the thing. We got in I live with my brothers. My oldest brother, who's kind of cool. My youngest brother, who is a gamer gator. But
and then my dead name. There's a dead name sticker on there, but from Coca-Cola. A guy at work drank a Coke and saw that name and was like, "Oh yeah, by the way, thought you'd like this."
Oh
damn!
Yeah,
no, I'm not out at work.
Oh, okay.
Do you see that? It says, "Arm trans women, disarm cops."
We kind of saw, we definitely saw the cross of the rifles and stuff like that. So we saw that sticker. Yeah, that does look cool.
I have an animal liberation sticker on my laptop.
Mm-hmm. I have
some random radio station.
But yeah, I got the sticker on June 30th in what was it? Salem, New Hampshire? No, it was it was in New Hampshire. I did have to cross the state border to go there. I was an illegal immigrant into New Hampshire. Oh wait, that's not how American borders work. Apparently, fucking.
Yeah. Are we not concerned about the undocumented people coming in from Canada? They're coming in here and buying our shoes.
So are Mexicans, actually.
And I think we should be fine if they're paying money for them. They're exchanging in value and in trade. That's trade. We want that, don't we? Aren't most Americans?
Aren't you a capitalist? Don't you want trade? Don't you describe capitalism as the existence of free trade?
No, oh wait, it's only certain free trade. Just like it's only certain.
It's only free. Yeah, only white people are allowed to participate in capitalism, only white people are allowed to participate in trade in capitalism. Everybody else, they're forced to participate in slave labor, essentially.
Yeah.
And we all are
capitalist country. The problem with socialist countries, in quote unquote, these quote unquote socialist countries, like as Stefan Molyneux would call it, the Congo is actually a socialist country.
Hold on, let me provide my reaction to that comment.
I mean, okay. The thing is that everybody knows Molyneux's a fucking wingnut.
Oh yes,
Molyneux is super flippant.
Mm-hmm.
So is literally at this point, just the whole anti-feminist sphere is just completely flippant. There isn't anything good about them anymore. They're not even new atheists at this point. At this point, they're like, yeah, technically we're atheists, but we're gonna buddy with Ben Shapiro, who we would have been railing so hard against 6 fucking years ago.
And Jordan Peterson.
The postmodern neo-Marxists. Oh, by the way, since we mentioned the Jeeps, I have a t-shirt made by Makaya B. He is awesome. This t-shirt's awesome. Advocates for the corrupt ideas of the postmodern neo-Marxists.
Oh, Makaya did that one?
Yes, it's on Makaya's shop website. So if you
I gotta go to Makaya's shop. I like Makaya. Yeah. I've actually had Makaya on this channel before.
Oh yeah, Makaya is real cool. He is cool. And also, Makaya also made this t-shirt. I'm not a nihilist. I'm just a press.
Yeah, that's about right. But yeah, there's 6 viewers now, by the way.
Yes,
so stream is really ramped up.
Nice, yes, and Deadman Animation in the live chat says, congrats on your 850, and gives some hand claps emotions and pulse emojis. And just a guy friend, I certainly trust trans women with guns more than cops.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Well, I mean, I'm just gonna my experiences with the cops have never been great.
Wait, do they trust non-binaries with guns, or just trans women?
I'm assuming that they trust non-binary people with guns. My channel doesn't really breed shitlords.
My channel have only shitlords.
Only comment, and if they leave a terrible comment, they'll get blocked or deleted or something like that.
Yeah, something that I basically have a no groypers policy for one. Any Nazi, you're instantly banned. You're not going to. You're not going to say shit on my fucking profile.
Mm-hmm.
Well,
there is nothing letting you do. Also, I never finished the article. Now that I think of it, but yeah,
we got distracted.
Well,
that there is no anarchist video content at all. Freedom has looked into a master list of leftist channels, which has been going around Reddit, and whittled it down to something a bit more manageable. Notable, however, is that below, beyond the excellent stimulator, none are offering regular news takes, and almost none of them have an entirely regular production schedule. We have divided them into news, hot takes, and comment.
Which one do I fall under?
Explain archive, actually. And
which
then
one do I fall under?
Vlog, which is they intentionally excluded blog channels.
Well, fuck you, man.
Some of the archive channels are essentially inactive at present, i.e. haven't produced anything new for the last 3 months. Those are listed separately. Please note this is only accurate as of July 11th, 2018. And Freedom is not endorsing the contents. The vast majority belong to individual bloggers, though some have small collections. So, of all of the so they put the schedules and the type of channel that they do. So for news and comment, it was anarcho-syndicalist action, weekly-ish comment, American Anarchist, which is the channel that everybody's watching right now, Wink, wink, nudge, nudge, camera, camera, lights, camera, action.
Y'all better watch my channel. I'm watching y'all.
Yep. Go watch the Vegan Anarchist.
And I fucking good news is I found a weed guy at work. Bad news is I'm gonna be switching jobs soon because I'm putting my 2-week notice in at Market Basket on Monday.
Yeah, I saw that on your social media.
Yeah, I'm like, no, fuck this place.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, so okay, American Anarchist. The best part, in my opinion, is how they described it, or how they described the schedule. Intermittent. And then I was categorized as discussion, which I think is about accurate. You know, I used to do more like more kind of commentary kind of stuff, although even then there was always some amount of discussion on the commentary stuff.
Yeah.
I had a discussion with Bronx Blogger. I had a discussion with Bronx Blogger the other week. Look, I wasn't featured.
It looks. I'm just going to say this is not an exhaustive list of anarchist YouTubers. Like, far from it. There are a lot more anarchist YouTubers.
Also,
how many anarchist
YouTubers
have over 1,000 subscribers?
Let's see.
The vast majority don't.
Yeah,
exactly.
It's
okay. Can I finish reading the list?
Sure.
Fuck the list.
So
there's that.
Okay, so an actual joke, monthly-ish comment.
An actual joke is good. I love her content.
Oh yeah, I mean I'm friends with an actual joke on Facebook, and we're mutuals on Twitter.
You know what's
funny too about Bronx bloggers that you know, I'm kind of the person. You know, it's kind of funny. I kind of gave him quite a bit of traction, and now he's bigger than me, which, you know, I personally don't mind.
Bronx blogger makes good videos.
Yeah, I was never here for the subscribers. I was here just to talk about what I wanted to talk about. To me, that like the point of YouTube is to do what you want to do.
Broadcast yourself, as YouTube used to say, but then it got bought by Google, and so now it's trying to be internet TV. You can still broadcast yourself. Essentially,
this account they were trying to go like, do you want to sign up for YouTube TV? No, I do not want to sign up for YouTube TV. Oh yeah. So an actual joke, monthly-ish comment is a channel. My friend, the Anarchist Spectacle, weekly-ish. A comment channel.
Okay.
This one is actually inaccurate, as Bad Mouse is an ML now, but Bad Mouse Productions.
So they had Bad Mouse, but not me. Fuck you.
Yeah.
Not you, but
they spelt this one wrong. But Batco the Manarchist daily comment and hot takes.
But he's
although
a Manarchist.
I will say Batco the Manarchist has been trying to move away from the more kind of shitlordy Manarchist label.
To be honest, I did not want to watch his videos just because he had like a Pepe as his avatar. I was like, I don't know if this guy is a shitlord or not. I am resident of Pepe in the avatars, but then I watched one of his videos
and then there's Then there's Flea Market Socialist.
He's really
weekly-ish. Tips, comments, and memes. Libertarian Socialist Rants, monthly-ish. Comment and explainers. Socialism or Barbarism, weekly plus. Messing about explainers, responses, and hot takes. Socialist Revolution, weekly-ish. Comment and explainers. Stimulator. Several weekly news. And then political explainers and essays are a narco pack, monthly comment and explainers. Love and Rage, weekly-ish explainers. Non-compete. Yes, we get it. You're booing everybody on the list because you're not on the list.
No, I'm not booing everybody on the list. I'm just booing Katya.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I thought that's what you were doing. I'm not.
You shouldn't say her name live.
Oh, sorry. What's it counted? Love and Rage. I'm sorry.
Non-compete, weekly plus explainers, comment and comedy. Thought Slime, weekly and video essays. I like Thought Slime, by the way.
Me
His channel's
too.
pretty. And then for archives, which is basically audiobooks and stuff, Audible Anarchist, weekly comments and audiobooks. Chomsky's Philosophy. Ew, Chomsky's an anarcho-liberal.
Yeah, Chomsky barely counts as an anarchist in my book.
He's an anarchist until it comes down to like actually supporting anarchist actions.
Yeah, I can see that.
Also,
And
he got wrecked by
audiobooks.
Noam Chomsky got wrecked by Foucault.
Oh, sorry. Inactive. The Comfy Milk Shop interviews audio text. The Anarchist Collective explainers. The Communist Dragon comment and shit posting. Left Sphere explainers. And What is Anarchism explainers. Also, I'm pretty sure it's been like 6 weeks since like I last did anything. Now that I think about it, I actually planned 2 weeks ago to have like just a random hangout with I got Troy involved, or what's his name, Lonely Wolf.
Oh,
Isn't Lonely Wolf a peak centrist?
Yes. Oh, well, he
peak centrist.
Right, he is a centrist, but Troy is definitely left on like economic issues for sure.
On economic and social.
I mean,
he's a leftist who refuses to go all the way.
I like him personally, but his politics is just gross.
To go all the way. Basically, Troy is kind of the opposite.
Troy, I have a problem with like some of Troy's friends, but I'm not gonna blame Troy for like his friendships with those people. And definitely Troy would have like similar problems with what some of his friends would say and stuff like that. So
I mean, I like Troy, but his politics aren't mine. Good for me, or not my taste.
Kind of apolitical, but leans left when push comes to shove, is what I've noticed.
Yeah, I can agree with that.
Apolitical in that he doesn't really think about politics, but when pushed on politics, he generally leans left. That's what I've noticed.
How come no Chomsky is on the list if he got wrecked by Foucault?
Well, I mean, it wasn't Noam Chomsky. It was the channel Chomsky's Philosophy, which is a Chomsky-based channel.
I know. Yeah. But why?
Please don't. By the way, please don't use the word "cuck" on my channel.
I didn't use that word.
Oh, I thought you said "cucked."
No, I said destroy.
See that? I guess I am a leftist cuck then.
Don't worry, I'm a beta.
Not even there. All right, that was the whole list, by the way.
It's definitely a mix. One thing I will say is that like Thought Slime, I think his Thought Slime is like great. I love his like a Q&A like anarchism like videos because it really has helped me. And I left the comment on like the last one about the state, and I was just like, I can totally see where anarchists are coming from. And I left the comment basically, I think I'm an anarchist now. I think I'm going to go identify as an anarchist now. Anarcho-syndicalist and anarcho-communism, but either one would work.
I'm a little iffy about the Cindy's, but I'm an anarchist without adjectives anyways, or a synthesis rather.
Yeah.
I'm an anarchist first. But...
All right, now I'm actually looking at the thing. All right. Find more mutualists. But mutualists, don't you mean ANCAPs? No, I'm just kidding. I'm kidding. You aren't Muchies aren't ANCAPs.
Yeah. I had a hangout with ANCAP.
Reen is not people. American, you're gay. Reen. I know your age. Like I know your age. Stop acting your age. I acted the same way when I was your age. Stop acting your age. Act old.
I think that is fair for anyone.
American, respond to me. All right. This has only been streaming for 9 to 10 minutes. Yeah, It's actually now it's like 30 minutes, but you know when you sent this at 5:11, it's only been streaming for like 10 minutes.
Yeah.
Oh, what do
Yeah,
y'all
thank you for joining. Geek
what do y'all think
interacting with
about
chat.
what do y'all think
Oh.
about synthesis anarchism?
I'm not familiar. I'm not too familiar, so I don't have an opinion on that.
Basically, the idea is to build a loose coalition of anarchists from various different tendencies,
I
from
think I kind
individualists
of
to
agree with
communists
that,
to
but
syndicalists.
I think that there are kind of like there's definitely a precedent for that, like that needs to happen to some extent, if I'm completely honest. Is
Yeah.
that, you know, libertarian socialists kind of need to get together and work out as many of their issues to get very specific things done.
I
You know, like,
I
you know,
don't-
there's clearly too, like, it's clearly not completely impossible as, you know, I mean, you know, anarchists and tankies fucking hate each other, but we've all agreed that we're going to get together, punch Nazis, and have a good time.
Yeah.
Well, fuck the tankies.
Yeah. I can't believe nobody's here. Congrats on your 850. Yeah, I named it 850 mostly just as an excuse to have a hangout out of nowhere. I'm like, 850, I guess. I'll have an 800 subscriber hangout. Which, by the way, it's an open chat. If anybody would like to join, I can put the link in.
I have
Yeah.
a question. Is it possible for a vlogging anarchist channel to explode?
Maybe.
Yes.
Possible? Yes. How likely? I would like to think is more
No.
likely than it is likely, but how I will want it to be more likely than it isn't. That's the thing. I will say that. I would love.
Yeah. If you said it was just a guy friend, I would have realized that. I would have been able to tell you they do trust non-binary people with guns.
Yes.
I always forget to tell them. I do. We need non-binary letter for the LGBTQ moniker.
Yay!
Yeah, I agree with that. Yeah. I mean, there was already like in Pride Month, from what I've seen on my Twitter feed, is like people have talked about one contention has always been like ace erasure, and I think that is like crap. And by the way, a close family friend of mine came out as basically asexual, but it's not really asexual. He's described if it's kind of a spectrum thing, mostly like hetero, romantic, demisexual, and stuff like that. So that's cool for him. I love my family member for that, and that's cool. But yeah, I agree. I would have no problem.
I imagine that your Trump supporting brother wasn't very happy about it, though.
Well, the thing is, like, my close family member came out on Facebook, and my younger brother, Trump voting Gamergator younger brother, is not on Facebook at all. So it'd be interesting. Yeah, it'd be interesting if he knows, but the considering like that same family member married LGBT legitimate Trump hater and stuff like that, of course, and a feminist, that he wouldn't be surprised. My younger brother probably wouldn't be surprised to be like, oh, okay, and maybe that'll be it.
I feel like DMAP people have a issue being erased too.
Damn, I'm not familiar with that. Yeah.
Designated male at birth.
Designated male at birth.
Oh, okay.
Like me.
DMAB, AMAB. It's basically, so if someone uses a D instead of an A for the AMAB or AFAB moniker, it just, or for the, for that moniker, it's just designated instead of assigned. So it means exactly the same thing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Oh.
What?
The debate about guns, no guns here. So no reason to have a gun. It's like selling drugs or being a sex worker. You might do it because you like it, but sometimes you just have to just to survive. Maybe without the pressure from society, etc., weapons would be viewed as gross. You know, I'm someone who, you know, I believe that ultimately in like in an actualized anarchist like world, that guns would be completely unnecessary.
Yeah, I agree with that. Yeah, but I agree.
or they might be necessary to maybe defense from nature, but like
like bears
even
and animals.
humans got by on spears and arrows for a long time.
Yeah.
What were you gonna say, Rose, about whether a vlog style anarchist channel can blow up big like ContraPoints can?
I highly doubt that it would,
In this current
but
environment, yeah, I agree.
yeah. Actually, I think it's really hard just for anybody on the left to blow up. It's possible.
Yeah.
The algorithm doesn't make it completely impossible, but it's not like something that like just is gonna happen.
It's also highly doubtful on, or it's more difficult to do it on YouTube specifically because how far right YouTube has been for so long and stuff like that. But some you.
Yep. Said queer theory is bullshit. They are getting
Okay, anyone who says queer theory is bullshit should be banned.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, that
Look,
guy.
You just look at it.
Mm-hmm.
Message deleted by American Anarchist.
Yeah, but because I've seen that guy in the chat, and it's just like, yeah.
Didn't I give you mod power? If I didn't, I'll give it to you right now.
I am not a mod right now, no. But
I gave you mod power, and you didn't do anything with it.
Honestly, it's because I haven't really been on YouTube. What am I to do?
Well, I've been having to delete a lot of hateful comments.
That's unfortunate.
Honestly, here's the trick: just block the people who leave them, and that's one
I do
less.
that often.
Yeah, if you just block the person, and it's gonna stop.
I would block repeat offenders.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Oh, let's see. In the live chat, Dead Man Animations asked if I can join this chat.
Oh yes, you can. I'll paste the link right. Oh, that would be the link to the YouTube to the stream. That won't work. Just circle you right back into where you already are. So let me get the link real quick.
What's holding me and my channel back from blowing up?
YouTube in general.
But how can it be YouTube?
The algorithm, a lot of reasons.
About it is designed to like make it impossible for leftists to flourish.
I think the audience too on YouTube as well.
For leftists flourish. Although there have been minimal efforts that have made it somewhat harder for the right to flourish as well. So,
well, honestly, also I remember last
we peak centrist is really what it is.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, that is the link. So,
Dead Man Animations, you can get in now.
So if it was a level playing field, how much would I have blown up right now?
I don't know.
Well, I mean, there isn't really a such thing as an equal playing field on YouTube, no matter what. Like,
what
it's just
if YouTube was like the old fashioned?
It would straight up be impossible, as it's meant to. It just kind of like who's there first is like even if there like wasn't any kind of algorithm, like even if there wasn't much intervention, who's there first is just going to get more subscribers faster, and that's just kind of the way it is. Saying, when I say who's there first, I mean like as in like literally the founding of the site.
Yeah.
Like, it's just one of those things. You've been there. You can get like if you've just been there for long enough, you can just get yourself like. It's just gonna.
It seems to like naturally happen.
You might not actually have a lot of people that watch you anymore, but you'll have a lot of subscribers just because you were there for so long.
Yeah, subscriber count seems to be the thing where it just almost stays like constant. It very rarely fluctuates as much as like actual like view numbers or actual like viewerships and stuff like that. Like a channel can have.
Oh yeah, I've seen channels with like 30 or 40 subscribers with videos with thousands of views.
Hello.
Hello.
Oh, uh,
Can you introduce yourself?
I'm assuming that this is Dead Man Animation, right?
What's up, guys? Yeah,
Oh,
Hello, Daniel. How are you doing?
I am doing good. Congrats on all the subs.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you. I mean, like I said, the subs are using the term 850 subs. It was just kind of an excuse to have a hangout because, you know, I didn't want to leave the channel empty for too long. I've got Patreon subscribers I have to please.
Right.
Well, don't
Also,
worry, American Anarchist. Go ahead, Vegan. I don't know.
I also just passed 1.1 thousand subscribers, so I need to thank you too. I'm a special snowflake.
Get it. My vegan comrade, get it.
Mm-hmm.
Well,
Yeah. So, Dead Man, how did you discover the American Anarchist channel? I'm kind of curious about that.
So I've been on YouTube for like ever, but I've always lurked and just watched people's stuff. But
Mhm.
like just with how like downhill YouTube has been going, like I was like I should probably just make stuff now because like I'm like in my own life, like I'm an animator, so like my
That's
make
cool.
like art and propaganda generally for the left, and so like this was I just started making stuff now. But I knew about his channel because of
Her.
I mean, it's her.
or her. I'm
It's
sorry.
her.
My pronouns are already messed up.
That's
Wait,
okay.
It's okay.
Didn't you subscribe to my channel a long time ago?
Yeah.
I also subscribe to
Oh.
your channel too, Vegan. So yeah, I'll watch your stuff later. I saw that you did that hangout with.
Please fuck off.
Mhm.
That was I remember that video.
Oh yeah, and I'm considering unblocking Kati and Piper because I do feel like.
Why are you saying their names live?
Oh, I'm sorry. Shit.
I told you not to
forgot.
say their names live.
Sorry, forgive me.
Mainly the second one because you're doxing her.
Oh shit. Well, let's not connect her to any channel, so to minimize it.
Okay.
Oh yeah, but that was kind of what I saw years ago was that you know, YouTube is going downhill. These anti-feminists are kind of just taking over because they were here first, but now they're just spreading like hate,
Yeah.
you know.
I mean, it's not even that. It's just that, like, even trying to like make a channel and put left content on YouTube is just drowned out by how much reactionary stuff there is.
Oh yeah.
Mhm.
Even
I mean,
posting trans stuff, you get demonetized.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, that's terrible.
I when I first like got this channel going like beyond 5 subscribers, when I got it to like 30 subscribers, and I actually went and made a video. I made a video about David Arini, or responding to David Arini, and David Arini DMCA'd me.
What?
I won, but still, like, he tried to say, "Oh, you know, featured part of my video. Here's, you know, here's a digital millennial copyright act."
It's like he's so trashy. I don't understand how like any of his stuff gets taken seriously, which is part of like the big problem anyways. Like the most reactionary people can just like completely dox like small leftist channels.
Yeah, that's terrible.
Oh yeah, they've been allowed to run with impunity for a long time.
Yeah.
That's just, you know, I'm personally, I'm proud to have have uplifted a few leftist channels before.
Yeah.
Plenty of them bigger than me now.
Yeah,
Bronx
Bronx
Blogger,
Blogger.
only 100 subscribers. The first time I ever hosted him on my channel, just because I saw him in the chat and he's like, "Oh, you know, I want to join." I was celebrating 400 subscribers. Committing illegal acts simply by drinking, because I'm not 21 and the United States has ass backwards drinking laws.
Yes, exactly.
What place does?
America has ass backwards drinking laws because
Oh yeah. No, they have weird laws around like every part of like just being free in the country of freedom.
Oh yeah, you know, drugs carry, like, you know, I would think that you'd be free to do drugs that you want to do.
Yeah,
But just doing them gives you like even, you know, just doing them like carries really heavy. very heavy sentences.
Yeah, exactly.
You know,
Just,
they
is
target black
crazy.
people more than they do white people.
Yeah,
I mean,
there's
not even
that.
that, like, I mean, because race is obviously a factor, but even how like classist all of the just general drug laws are.
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
We're such a free country that we have internment camps.
That's true freedom. Going to camp is freedom.
It's like a summer
Oh, shit.
camp.
That's the Soviet Union model.
Oh my god, no. Don't do
We
that.
outdid the Soviet Union with our prison system.
Oh, we totally did. We have more people locked in American prisons today than Stalin had locked in gulags.
You guys know that like gulags existed like prior to the rise of the Soviet Union, right?
Yeah, I
Yes.
can believe that.
Yeah. Just because like just because like I'm a communist, so like whatever stuff about like the Soviet Union or like
It comes up, you want to make sure it's accurate.
yeah, and it's like it's a genuine criticism, but it's also one of those things where it's like historically, like they had certain conditions, and it's like yeah, it was bad, but it should be also like taken into account of who they were at the time versus just
Yeah,
this like
well, it should
Fine.
also be taken into account what America was doing and how America wasn't actually that much better.
oh yeah,
Yeah,
oh no,
exactly.
absolutely not.
Also, Deadman,
Yes,
what do you think about this book? Have you read this book, Communism in the Bible?
I have not. Who's the
It's a
author?
really good read. It's by Jose Marianda, or I can't pronounce it in Spanish, sorry.
I mean,
Mirando.
check that out.
It's
Miranda.
Mirando.
Yep, they're gonna like
Really?
add it to my list too.
Anyway, it's a really good read. So what was your opinion on Christian communism?
My thing is that historically Christianity has been such a like it's been such a ally of like class identity and just hierarchy that like it's hard to see Christianity as revolutionary. But again, there's also a history of like revolutionary movements that do have like very distinct Christian characteristics. So it's not illegitimate. It's just Christianity is very much the dominant force in different societies. So it's very like up in the air and kind of
Oh, yeah. I mean, literally with, with a lot of slave activism, the Bible was used as like, a rhetorical tool
So was
against
anti-slavery
slavery, but it was also
activism.
used as a rhetorical tool for slavery, which I think that you would have to do a lot more twisting to use the Bible in favor of slavery personally.
Thank
But,
you,
you know.
Leviticus.
Some of the arguments just turned into what does the Bible say?
But this is
a lot of things.
The Bible, it's like, I mean, for people who even care, like it's been revised so many different times that like
There's that.
the idea of trying to have it like very absolute, this is what the Bible says, is not really like even that accurate, to be honest.
It's not even possible considering contradictions within like its own texts.
Yeah.
Well, to
Oh,
be
yeah.
fair, even one book has multiple different authors, and
Yeah.
if you want less contradiction, just rip out Paul and the Book of Revelations, and then you have more accurate, less contradiction. Because Paul
Revelations is one of my
contradicted
favorite.
Jesus big time.
I mean, Book of Revelations is only good for like inspiration for black metal bands to like play songs and
Oh
produce.
my god! Speaking of which, there's literally a band because I'm a metalhead. Like there's an album by Job for a Cowboy called not Doomed. What album is it? Oh my goodness, I forgot. Genesis. One of the songs literally is just a passage from Genesis. I mean,
That's
not
awesome.
Revelations. But no.
If Christian radio stations in America would play metal, I would actually listen to them, but they don't. I had a coworker that listened to Christian radio stations like Spirit 105.3, and it's just
Amy Lee, and Evanescence, who I think that they were like a Christian band.
oh no,
I know
okay.
Even they got banned from Christian radio.
I think I don't think they were a Christian band. What the mistake was is that on their first single, "Bring Me to Life," their first big hit is that it was like had the singer from 12 Stones in it. 12 Stones, who is a Christian band, and that singer was in that track, and so the record labels put "Bring Me to Life" and give it to the Christian radio stations and stuff like that. And then once Evanescence's first interview with like Time Magazine or Rolling Stones or whatever, they were dropping F-bombs and swearing across the storm as usual and saying things like they hate Jesus or something like that. And so the record labels went up records. So it's like, oh crap, and just redraw and just like, oh my god, we made a mistake. We didn't like check if these bands were like Christian or not. So it's just because of the singer from 12 Stones was on that track, "Bring Me to Life." That's what made people think that they were a Christian Christian rock band, and they weren't. So
honestly, leftist Christian music is way better than right-wing Christian music. If Christian music was actually leftist, I would actually pay attention way more often and actually would listen to it all the time.
Something that I find kind of funny about like people flipping out about Amy Lee, or like about Evanescence saying stuff like "I hate Jesus," like if that had actually happened, that was literally something that happened to the Beatles. You had people in America burning records because they said we're more popular than Jesus.
Yep.
I don't know what it is because this is an American context for stuff like that, right?
Yes.
So like
yeah,
because like America is very distinctly like, as far as Christianity, very Protestant. And like Protestants' relationship to like just Jesus is so irrational compared to like a lot of other people who are like of the Abrahamic faiths. It's just this ridiculous thing that like if you disrespect him, somehow you've done some great offense, even though like most people outside of the faiths are like, dude, he's flawed. He's like a person.
He's human just like everyone else.
But you disrespect Jesus when you listen to Paul over him anyways.
Yep. I can say that. I grew up Catholic, and so it's kind of like interesting for me. Well, then again, it's like I just went to church because my parents want me to, and that was about it. But about the 6th grade, my parents stopped bringing us to church, and I was like, okay, I get to play video games now. And so we just me and my brothers just kind of grew out of it. Well, here's how I always say: even though my mother wanted us to be raised Catholic, both my parents instilled with us, because they were fans of science as well, instilled in us the ideas of thinking for ourselves and being open-minded, which eventually led all 4 of us to be agnostic or some form of atheists.
That's cool.
I used to go to church with my grandmother just because it was something to do.
Mm-hmm.
I volunteered reading the Bible, and then I was kind of like, I don't think I believe in the Bible.
I would read it just for like a good fiction.
This seems kind of flippant, and it's not even that good.
Am I the only one here?
This contradicts this. How the fuck does that work?
Am I the only one here who still goes to church willingly?
Probably, because like I definitely stopped, but I'm out of my asshole atheist phase. People who believe
that takes time to get over, though. You have to be like a healthy person to get past that, and a lot of people don't.
There's that too.
I used to be that too, actually.
Wait, you have to be a heavy person to get out of that? How the fuck did I get out of that then?
I mean, like in that kind of way where you're willing to actually like challenge your belief and not just be like, oh, I'm an atheist, I guess I'm better than everyone now. It's like, no. You just get out one part of like one particular religion.
Yo, dead man. Yo, dead man. Can you guess what congregation I go to?
Congregation?
Yeah, what kind of church?
Pretty sure you said it at the beginning of the stream.
Yes.
Something like a Quaker or something like one of the more left-leaning churches?
Unitarian Universalist.
Unitarian, yeah.
UU. I'm a proud
I don't forget about them. They're so cool historically because they're just like, you know what? Let's actually do good.
Mm-hmm. They're a merger of the Unitarian and Universalist strain of Christianity, and they kind of grew out of it to embrace other religions as well.
Right. Vegan anarchists, don't worry, you're not alone. Lunanex is in the live chats. He's said
an atheist.
How do you say it?
Lunanex, I think. I don't know.
Isn't she an atheist?
Nice.
She just said like you're not alone, so that's all. Just wanted to share that.
Oh, okay. I think there is value in religious anarchism, and I think we need to talk about that more often, especially when most of the world is religious and still the fastest growing population in the world is religious, because the atheists aren't having their kids.
Oh, right. Like, I don't think my perspective. You go ahead.
You were talking first.
Just like in general, it's just like it's just like picking our battles. If we pick our battles on like religion and saying you're stupid for believing in a deity, that's just like no, just like,
you're a stupid poopy head.
Right.
You're a stupid poopy head because you believe in religion. No, I think that people can. I mean, for me, like what brought me to leftism was Christianity. It was the idea of, the poor are going to go to heaven and, the rich are going to inherit the hell that they created.
You know what made me really sympathetic to Christianity when I was anti-Christianity for a long time? Leftism.
Oh, yeah, I remember when you were in your kind of annoying anti-theist stage.
I regret that stage, but I learned a lot from it.
I regret
to be fair, like even before I like reached like the political values I have now, dude, I was raised like Christian conservative, so I had like a mix of beliefs where it's like on race stuff, like clearly like Martin Luther, like, really basic liberal stuff, but when it came to like really simple praxis, like I was conservative as fuck. Like,
what's funny about Martin Luther King is that he's actually been whitewashed and that he was a lot more radical than conservatives like to make him out to be.
No, in his like last years, he was like devoutly socialist and was like.
Oh yeah, he was killed doing labor activism.
Yeah.
Because in America, we kill labor activists in our history. Yeah, totally.
Oh yeah, there's plenty of dead labor activists. Actually, America just kills activists in general, and I'm talking about activists, not these right-wing motherfuckers who want to go back in time and pretend they're activists.
Like, wait, what kind of movements are you talking about specifically?
Like, basically, you've either got like the fasci kind of like get the N-words and S-words out, or you've got the or you've just got the people who are like, basically just the people who have very like reactionary kind of politics who pretend to be like, when I say that they want to go back in time, I just mean that they have like reactionary politics that are like very against like a group.
Yeah.
Well, the alt-right wants to go back to the
Tommy Robinson, for example. He's just that wouldn't really be going back in time, but he calls himself an activist, even though all he's defending is the status quo. I'm defending the status quo of racial profiling of Muslims. Call me an activist. I'm an activist because I'm speaking up against Islam, against creeping Sharia.
Do you guys know about Kevin Logan?
Oh, yes. Kevin Logan's awesome.
Kevin Logan basically was the person who bumped my channel.
Mm-hmm. He was doing a whole thing about Tommy Robinson because they were doing all those right-wing rallies around him being like pretty much in trouble for not following the rules. Just do a basic thing. Hey, stop harassing these people during their trials because like this is in America. You don't have the right to like film these people.
Yeah, exactly.
But I actually think that's a good thing, or I think that's a good thing that, to me, I feel like, people in power, you should be free to film them. People who are in power, don't fucking film them.
Yeah, people who are in power, don't film them.
Prosecuted by people in power.
Yes. I mean, the other thing is like, because there's like cops to it, but even like the manufacture of how we think of the courts has been went all the way back into like the really early days of film and television, just like filming court cases and like telling court stories. So there's like a mythology around the courts themselves.
Exactly.
And Kevin Logan was talking about how basically it was like a big culture shock to Britain when they had the O.J. Simpson trial and it was all completely recorded.
Yeah, no, all filmed and like just like this big news event that people were just clamoring around and seeing how
glove don't fit. You must have quit.
The Americans can see what's happening in a court case? What? Yeah, exactly. I think that's...
like they can just record people who are being accused of crimes. You know, even if people like legitimately committed like really heinous offenses, you shouldn't be like you shouldn't be recording them. Like if you want to get information on the court cases, talk to, the juror, don't record the guy, like don't put his identity out there, because you're going to get some crazy fuckers who, if the guy didn't do it, they're going to be convinced that the guy did it and they're going to fucking murder him, or they're going to do something.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, in America, we had the unfortunate thing where it's just like we had to create the term of person of interest, because for the longest time in American media, news media, we were saying suspect. And so there was a guy in the 1996 Atlanta bombing at the Summer World Olympics that like the police officers mistakenly a guy into questioning, and the news reported him as a suspect. It turns out he wasn't the guy that did it, but like because of the news coverage of this one guy being the suspect, his life went to shit because of the news coverage and stuff like that. And so I think that we should take
feel like they're part of the like judicial process, even though like no, you're not. You're just
exactly
malforming the judicial process in and of itself.
I think that it's also possible that the media is also partially responsible for the mass shooting epidemic. In other countries, they don't report the identity of the shooter. In America, it's all over the news.
Oh, yeah.
If it's the white guy, he was a lone wolf. But if it was some kind of brown guy, he's a terrorist.
Exactly.
Well, not only that,
it's like the old George Carlin skit or the old George Carlin skit about political correctness, where he said, they call Israeli terrorists commandos. They call Arab commandos terrorists.
Yeah, I mean, and again, especially like in America, that context has a lot to do with just settler identity. I don't know if either or any of you have read Settlers before, just know about that kind of context of looking.
I've read a bit of Settlers before. I might actually pick it up because I heard that I basically read it like with the wrong like thing in the back of my mind the first time.
Well, I was going to make the point that a lot of people who do mass shooting do it for fame reason. Not all of them, but a lot of them. And
I
when
can
you
see
keep
that.
reporting names, they're doing it they want. Fame.
Yeah, that's the problem. The attention and the marketplace of ideas of the social media clicks and all this stuff.
People treat it like. I mean, people talk about suicide like somehow that's what people do for fame, but I think that mass shootings are much more likely, because when you think of it this way, it's like, I can kill a bunch of other people,
for a white man,
or I can kill myself and not experience my fame.
So it's like, I feel like that's a part of it, but I feel like there's a lot more nuance to every case.
Oh, there obviously is.
Yeah.
But, I'm just saying, I think that the second one is more likely to be something that would happen than, people committing suicide for fame.
Right.
I'm not even saying that the second one doesn't necessarily happen, but I think that, too, when we report suicides that way, like, when we talk about suicides in that kind of way, it very much stigmatizes depression and mental illness. Mental illness lead someone to kill themselves.
I have been in a place where I wanted to do that myself.
Oh
yeah,
but yeah, even to just like view it as simply an issue of mental illness versus the social structures in place that just antagonize individuals.
Oh yeah.
And alienation.
But
I think it's a patriarchal issue in general.
Oh yeah, no, patriarchy plays a very big part in it.
Oh yeah, toxic masculinity and all.
Rates of the people who attempt suicide, not the rates of people who successfully do it, but the rates of people who attempt it. The rates of people who go to the hospital for botched suicides.
Those are more likely to be women.
If you look at it,
yeah,
it's women.
Yeah,
and I mean, you can literally get statistics of people who attempt suicide with the people who are successful at that, because all of this involved the hospital. So you basically would combine those numbers, and you would include the ones who came in alive and the ones who came in dead in the attempted numbers. Because attempted, you can successfully attempt suicide and be dead.
Yeah.
Right.
But if you look at the rates of people who attempt suicide, women have a much higher
rate.
attempt rate, while men have a lower attempt rate but a much higher success rate.
Because of the methods used, obviously.
Yes.
Methods are very different.
I can say as someone who's attempted suicide, the methods that I've used that have been attempted were stuff that I could go to a hospital and be treated for and survive.
Right.
Mainly that I tried to overdose.
Yeah. Which reminds me of, I just followed a Twitter account that's called at Rail Regulated Militia, Rail Regulated, something like that, where it's a Twitter account that's dedicated to just like putting out there all the news stories of all the violence caused by the guns and stuff like that. And so it's quite interesting how like almost daily there are gun violence in America and stuff like that.
Oh yeah.
Which is unfortunate. Well, what is about women and non-binary people when they get really depressed or anxious, they don't shoot things up and white men do it?
Because it's entitlement.
Gun culture too.
I mean that too, but it has a lot to do with entitlement.
Yeah, but white women, I mean, black women are the fastest growing, or was, I don't know about now, a group of gun buyers and gun owners, and yet their mass shootings haven't gone up at all.
Yeah, no. That's an interesting point. So I don't know the answers, but that is an interesting distinction.
When a white person buys a gun, it's usually out of paranoia that some black dude or black woman's going to come along and take all the things that he didn't earn, but that he has.
Yeah.
Where when a black person buys it, it's a well-founded fear that white man's going to come and try and kill her.
Mm-hmm.
Or even women.
Or just women in general. But I mean, even then, you've got racist white women that might be buying it for paranoia of the brown people.
Is being afraid that fascists will kill me a justifiable reason to have a gun?
I'd say so, in my opinion.
I would just straight up.
There are few of any fascists in my area.
I have fascists in my area. I have people. There's literally a bar up from where I live that has like a Blue Lives Matter flag next to like an American flag.
Wow.
There's fascists in like Seattle area too.
I went to a strike rally today for the gas workers union in my area because they're being taken over by National Grid.
Mm.
In my county, it's over 70 or 80% Hispanic.
I was mainly there as a spectator because, I'm not part of like the bargaining, but I show as much support for people striking as possible. Like I'm not gonna
show solidarity.
I'm gonna show some solidarity. I was there mostly in solidarity as opposed to like, organizing the strike or anything like that.
Yeah, exactly.
But walking back to the parking garage, I saw a guy who had the Punisher symbol on the back of his shirt, but it was there was an American flag shape carved out of the skull a bit, like kind of with like blue stars kind of carved out that shape, and then a thin blue line, and it's like, really? Have you never read the fucking Punisher?
Literally, the concept is so fucking right wing.
Yeah, exactly. The right wing they will just reappropriate anyone, and it's just like, do you understand the source material you're reappropriating? Jeez.
Yeah,
it's just totally missing the point.
Think of the fact that you've got people like Phil Anselmo going. It's like, I don't know if he still says this, but he did say it at one point that rap music is shitting all over white culture, and I'm like,
that's so funny.
You play thrash metal. Thrash metal.
I like thrash metal. It's just reactionary, that's all.
You know what shits on? You know what?
From black art, and you have the fucking nerve to tell black people who perform rap music that they're shitting all over white culture. You're shitting all over black culture by playing fucking metal, and it's not even metal.
Even, I mean, like if you really want to do the like, go all the way back and be like, let's talk about the like origins.
Hey, who's the new person here?
Who made fucking rock and roll?
Survival of the fittest.
Like black
yeah.
Yes,
black
exactly.
people made rock and roll. Black people, metal is derived
it
from
was a
rock.
queer black woman who made rock and roll.
Oh yeah, if you want to go all the way back.
Oh yeah, all the way back.
That's cool.
And you have the balls as basically a Nazi who won't admit that he's a Nazi to say,
oh, there's a lot of those people
performing rap music are shitting all over white culture.
There's someone in the chat named
Not white culture.
You know, I think shitting all over white culture, lots of country music.
There's someone in the conversation named Survival something. I can't see the last part.
Survival of the Fittest has joined the chat.
Hey guys,
sounds like a Nazi thing or a social Darwinist thing.
Survival of the Fittest.
Are you social Darwinist?
Hey, what's up, guys?
Hey.
Are you a social Darwinist?
What's that?
Are you a social Darwinist?
What's a social Darwinist?
So basically, okay, so social Darwinism is the concept of basically applying Darwinian evolution across individuals, which, well, basically like, some people will prosper, but only the fittest will, only the fittest will prosper, and the rest of them, they can all go fuck themselves.
It's basically like a very loose look at like Darwin's theory and basically being like, yeah, this is not eugenics, but it's eugenics.
Yeah, it's not even Darwin's theory. It's actually a misinterpretation of Darwin's theory.
Yeah, no,
it's
just about your relationship to the environment. It has nothing to do with this like brutal system of social interactions and like hierarchies.
Well, yeah, not to mention that, Darwinian evolution is about the survival of species as opposed to the survival of individual people.
Yeah,
in a single species such as humans, survival is literally a collective effort.
Yeah.
So therefore, survival of the fittest would mean survival of a species that cooperates. Because, when's the last time a fucking human went one-on-one with a mammoth? The answer is never.
It didn't went well. It didn't went well. I will tell you.
The answer is that there's never been a human that went one-on-one with a mammoth with nothing but a spear or nothing but a bow and survived.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah, but they probably have went one-on-one with an animal with a bow and survived.
Yeah, some animals.
But usually...
Well, not some animals. I mean, if you think of northern Alaska, there's guys up there that go bow hunting. They hunt grizzly bears. They hunt polar bears. So...
Yeah, but you can shoot a grizzly bear,
but, I mean,
and a lot of them won't even die. You.
There's usually more than one person involved.
Mm-hmm.
Not necessarily. Not for bow hunting. There's not. Bow hunting in the actual traditional sense is not. Usually, when you get a bunch of men together when they hunt with long rifles, there's usually more than one. But bow hunting is such a particular sport that you need to have. It's usually like a one-on-one scenario.
I don't know. I've never been. Last time I used a bow was in like summer Cub Scouts.
The analogy a little bit further. It's not like, one as a human gone barehanded up against, against some animal like a bear and really killed the bear. Not survived, but killed the bear.
Bear wrestling.
Probably not very often.
Bear fights a bear. He barely survived.
But as you said, it takes cooperation of a species to survive. So
that's unbearable.
Oh god. How we started. Barely through this.
I think how buried is in watching this.
The Baring can't say anything because he's blocked from saying anything on this channel.
That's the ultimate comeuppance for that person. Just spending years harassing people and like taking the piss out of people, and then just gets permabanned from the apparatus to do that, just for being that.
Well, I mean, Barry basically had his channel almost completely striked down again.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah. His channel was gone for like 2 days. It's like I don't know exactly what did that, but like I think he was advertising cannabis oil on his like a channel. But I think it was because it was advertising like no problem. I think he was advertising like a site where you can just like go and get your papers. Like you cheat on college papers with this site. They will do the papers for you or something like that. It was one of those two essentially that got his channel taken down, suspended for just 2 days.
Well, yeah, because talking about drugs is illegal on YouTube, so I'm going to roll up a fatty right now and smoke it live.
I mean, you can talk about drugs on YouTube, but it's weird about what drugs.
Yeah, exactly. Or advertising.
How you talk about it, because it's like, oh, you know, you can't talk favorably about marijuana, but, you know, if it's educational, wink, wink, you know,
I remember back when YouTube was literally a channel where you could just look up people being like 2 foot bong rip, and it's just like those were channels.
There's a channel called
I might have watched those channels a few times in high school.
No, that was funny.
There's a channel called Dabbing Granny.
The first video I ever made on YouTube was literally me snorting a line of ramen noodle.
Oh my god!
You know, it was a spicy chicken flavored ramen noodle, and I took the flavor packet and snorted it.
By the way, if you hear background noise coming,
hanging out of my snot like line just hanging out of my nose, I'm like, I gotta get to the window now because I don't want to get this all over your floor.
By the way, if you hear background noise coming from my end, it's because I'm with my dad, and I live with other people right now for a month or so more. So
yeah, that's fine.
Okay, good.
The background noise is just like one of those things. It's fine.
Where suburban white boys decide that they have to show how down they are with black culture by playing obnoxiously loud rap music. It's like I like rap music, but can you please not shake my house with it?
I like rock music.
I mean, I keep my metal down so that I'm not shaking everybody else's house.
Yeah, exactly.
Who are you listening to?
Recently, I've actually been listening to this band Bad Wolves, which did a cover of Zombie.
Excellent cover, yes.
Oh yeah, you know the album Disobey, which has some kind of anarchistic themes. I mean, the first song is a song about shooting police officers. The song is called "Officer Down."
Yeah.
It does start off by using the N-word, but it's not a white guy. He's a mixed black guy, so I wouldn't repeat what's coming out of his mouth, but he's basically calling in as a white guy to the police officer saying, "Pull the trigger on this." Well, yeah.
I mean, no offense by this. I just think it's funny that like my black presence in this is just making all of you just kind of like I don't want to offend the black person, and I'm just like, guys, you're fine, we're comrades.
No, I'm actually. It's not me going, I don't want to offend the black person. It's just me going, I want to be very conscientious about what language I use.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
I mean, I don't know if you've seen my hair. It's like my hair is textured. Like I don't trust white people near my hair. But
my hair goes and tangles really.
I've also got Casper skin, so I'm white.
My hair tangles really easily.
No one's really white, but yes.
Right. I'm only an eighth black. I'm not gonna go like. I'm not gonna start going around wearing dreadlocks like. It's my culture, man. I'm not connected to it.
I'm not connected.
I have that sombrero just because it's an awesome hat to wear in the summer. That's all. I bought it at Value Village. That's all.
Well, I can wear a sombrero.
Next to it.
I can wear a sombrero.
But yeah, it's like, I'm not like me doing it. It's just me being conscientious of the language I use, and I think that it's very much a thing that black people should, or white people should not take mastery over that word just because of the way that word was used centuries ago, or actually not even centuries ago, like only a little more than half a century ago, and is still used today.
Oh, by the way, so what's helping my channel grow? What's my strengths? YouTube strengths.
I don't know.
You should first of all, veganism, because that's on the rise anyways. But also,
true.
I don't know how, but I need you to like be on a stream with Mexi.
Yeah, we brought that up being stream with Mexi and Rose, and might as well add Marine from. Oh, sorry, I don't want to.
Oh yeah, Marine's great.
Well, I mean, I'm pretty. Yeah.
Marine from a Public Vegan.
I think so.
Why
Yeah.
Vegan? How can you choose that lifestyle? What's your?
Well, it's a more high ground lifestyle. There's one thing.
Is that a Boba Fett Fez?
Yes.
I'm vegan, but I try to incorporate some of my ethnic Mexican when I can, even with substitutes. It's not easy, especially being broke, but I have access to lots of fruits and vegetables, though, especially from Mexico.
I mean, I mostly started eating as little meat as possible, mainly because I did wrestling in high school. And then after they basically, when you do wrestling, they just decide, they're like, you should do like a vegetarian diet or like very minimal on the meat. Make sure that you get whatever you get, like make sure that you're eating enough protein, of course.
Yeah.
But yeah, they're kind of like, you don't want to eat a lot of meat. I think they literally said like 3 ounces of meat, at a meal.
Yeah, I think Americans eat too much. I think Americans eat too much meat, or like a lot of people just eat too much meat in general. I do agree with that. I'm a guilty meat eater. I have because I
physically felt better when I didn't.
But do you think there's certain like certain levels to it? I mean, like you have vegans that are on one end of the spectrum, and vegans. So, if your idea is just to eat less meat, then does that necessarily? Is that the definition of veganism, or like?
I mean, veganism is a movement. Or I'm sorry, interrupt.
The definition, vegans strive to remove all animal products as far as possible and practicable. And when it's not possible, at least you're doing as much as you can. That's what it's basically about.
Yeah.
Also animal byproducts as well, milk, eggs, and like dairy products as well, and stuff like that. Because of the,
I'm not as good on the animal products, which is why I say that I'm vegetarian. Why I say that I'm vegetarian at the moment. But come on, do you expect me to not eat ice cream just because there's no vegan ice cream in my area?
Yeah, that's exactly.
I could just go to HEB and just get one, actually.
But I mean, I don't have one. Like, I don't have a place nearby me to go and get one.
True,
you can make ice cream though.
You can make one yourself.
I mean,
so why is it you guys are against animal products in the first place? Is there any reason for that?
I think it's animals should not be property of humans.
Yeah, friends, not food. That's it.
My thing is that just like a lot of the science around just like how the human diet works, it's not that like eating meat is inherently bad. It's that the capacity of how much meat we eat is bad. So it's not that like we shouldn't eat meat. It's that how much meat is just considered normal in our society today. Is just
also,
a
meat diet is also environmentally destructive.
Yeah. There's that too.
But also, like a non-meat diet is also environmentally destructive because when you look at the farming and these big combines that kill everything in its path, every little ground animal, every little squirrel, bird.
That has more to do with capitalism than just necessarily
that has more of an impact, I would think, on animal products than if you have factory farmed beef or whatever it is. But I don't think that necessarily that our diet reflects the amount of meat we eat. I think our diet reflects the lack of activity. The impact of the amount of meat we eat is because we're a lot lazier and we don't, and like what we eat it with, like a processed, trans fats, high sugar content. I don't think the meat's a culprit. I think everything else is a culprit, including sugar.
The thing is, it's not just meat, it's animal products. So everything that comes out of a cow, everything that comes out of a pig, a chicken, all of it combined on top of the food industry, an industry that's getting you to consume food. Because we eat food anyways, but under capitalism, the goal is to make more profit. So
and to get you to eat the food that they can produce for cheap.
Right, yes, and that's the other thing. So it's not just meat itself. It's
the quality of the meat that you're eating.
I'm sorry, what?
Or sorry, it's the quality of the meat that you're eating.
But that's the thing. Even trying to account for that, especially nowadays, is incredibly absurd. Especially considering that, like, to get good meat implies that you have access to like a very specific farmer who raises them in the kind of environment that would actually give you good meat, and then be able to trade in that very way. And that just doesn't exist for the majority of people. So that
I don't feel it's any more absurd than being a vegan, because you need to find specific vegan places and have vegan food. I think
if I like where I get my food, there's a farmer's market that happens every Saturday where I live that I just walk to. And then as far as grocery shopping, like I spend like $30, $20 on just fruits and vegetables, and I have like meals for the day.
Yeah, exactly.
I managed to eat vegan on food stamps.
Some people, and sometimes.
I'm the only vegan, so that includes other non-vegans, but I still managed to do it.
It's
I live in I live in a food desert, and also like if I get my lunch at work, I'm not going to be like, well, all of my options here have meat, so I'm not going to eat anything. No, I go like, yeah, I'm not going to choose the meatiest thing, obviously, but
to the ability, it's not.
Yeah, but unfortunately, prepackaged processed foods, the meat isn't the issue.
You don't always have a choice.
No, right? So,
obviously, you don't always have a choice. That's capitalism.
That's capitalism, yes.
Capitalism, it gives you a million choices on what you don't need choices for, but gives you no choices where you actually need choices.
So is the issue capitalism, or is the issue animal products?
I mean, right now it's capitalism. All of these issues connect. So
I think speciesism and capitalism are intertwined.
Yes.
Even though speciesism does predate capital by thousands of years, it's still never. Our capitalism relies on exploitation of non-human animals and human animals just to survive.
Yeah, exactly. I would agree.
I feel like veganism has to be anti-capitalist, otherwise you're not full vegan.
Absolutely. Yes.
Yeah. So sorry, you said
otherwise you're just
anti-capitalism.
What did you say? Survival of the fittest?
Sorry, I just thought he said that veganism is anti-capitalism.
Most vegans are, but they should be to be consistent.
Yes,
because capitalism relies on exploitation of humans and non-human animals.
Yes, exactly. So veganism, and it needs to be anti-capitalism, and that, and I agree with that. Yeah, and most veganism, you agree with that too. Yeah.
Mexi and I are radical vegans, not your everyday liberal vegan or alt-right vegan.
Captain Andy is also a vegan activist as well. Electro Mayhem 87, Luna Veg.
I love Electric Mayhem. We're two good friends.
I'm on the opposite end of the spectrum. I mean, like I hunt my own food. I fill my freezer full of meat every year. So I have free range organic meat. So that's where I'm coming from a perspective that I don't feel that eating meat is bad. I would much rather grow my own vegetables, eat my own meat that I hunted, than to go into like a Smith's Snacks and eat some processed sandwich that's in some vegetarian sandwich, because I don't want to eat meat, but yet that vegetarian sandwich is full of enriched wheat and flour and sugar and all that processed garbage, which is what's causing most of the problems.
Yeah.
What do you normally hunt?
Wood bison, elk, moose, woodland caribou, barrenland caribou.
But even
because I was just curious, like the kind of diet like you had, because you said you consume meat. It's not, because not all meat is the same. Like there's
right.
But like, is it? I mean, I don't want to get too much into your personal life, but what kind of region is it, or what area?
Northwest Canada.
Oh, that's why. Okay. Well, it's easy.
Not everybody has that kind of.
Well, no. Do not diminish it. It is not easy. because the amount of training. Right?
Yeah. But not everybody lives in that region of the world. So
Yes.
that's what I'm saying. I'm not criticizing the lifestyle. I'm just fascinated with people who have that kind of lifestyle. It's like I'm from California. Like there's literally like millions of people in my state. Like you can't really just go out and hunt. And if you did,
you can. You can go, but I mean, like you can go hunting. You can go elk hunting. You need to go up to.
Okay,
up to
hunters,
Idaho.
get yourself banned.
You have to go up to. You have to go to a place to do that.
Yeah,
Yeah, but I mean, if you're as committed to a vegan lifestyle, then why not be as committed to an organic free range lifestyle? If you had to put as much effort into being a vegan, you just take
I'm
one week a year.
I'm for permaculture. I'm for getting rid of the currencies of agriculture and replacing it with something more ecologically sustainable.
Yes.
I believe our current agriculture
organizing
is
around farming. Oh. Yeah, like I grew up. Like I even helped. Sorry.
That's why I'm a green anarchist.
So like, yeah, it's not like one of those. Like I don't know what I'm doing with like my food exactly.
I mean, I have
for me, I
some,
eat
but not enough to live
as
off of.
healthy as I can and consume. I mean, the meat thing for me is more of an ethical thing as opposed to really a health thing.
But I don't understand where the ethical component falls into it, because I mean, we've all evolved from eating meat, and I mean, animals are there for us to eat. No, yes, I mean 100%. I mean, veganism is nothing but a first world luxury, and we all know that.
People in India are vegetarians.
Yeah, but vegetarian and veganism are two different things here, because now we're talking about like I mean, we're talking about moral and ethical options to say that all animal products, goes against the grain, whereas veganism and vegetarianism are two different things. So I don't feel that by harvesting an animal that's put there for consumption.
But that's the thing.
It's not put there for consumption. It exists for their own. Animals should be treated for their own sake and valued for their lives, not for consumption.
But not even that. It's the assumption that animals exist for our personal consumption. On top of that, it's where we are right now in history. We live in a society where we overproduce these goods. Like you go to a McDonald's, you go to a supermarket, you go to any place, they offer meat because it's raised in the multi-millions and slaughtered by the thousands every day. So it's not a matter of like our personal relationship to meat. It's about our social context relationship to meat.
Well, okay. So
let's look at a systematic thing. It's just like a system of capitalism that like perpetuates these problems as well. So which is why capitalism must end as soon as possible.
Okay, so let's look at remote regions.
Go ahead.
Sorry. Okay. So like let's look at remote regions throughout northern Canada, like Alaska, Yukon, Northwest Territories, Inuvik, where you have you have cultures of individuals, Native Americans. I mean, these people were literally raised from the land eating animals. You cannot grow vegetables. You cannot grow fruit up there, right? I mean, like they literally eat whale blubber, whale meat, seal meat. Small game. So how can you not say that the animals are put there for consumption where you would have had?
The problem is that you're thinking of this in a purely isolated context.
And the point I'm trying to make is the same. Okay, sorry. Yeah, sorry. Go ahead.
In that context, like in order to get what they need to survive, the actual animals of the land is how they survive in these regions. But we now live in an era of time where we overproduce so much food that it would be simple to like not only provide them with better food sources, but just the way we have agriculture now, these regions could easily support communities because of how we engage in agriculture, how we have farming techniques. And again, the biggest thing is that when we talk about just the loss of entire animal species, because we're living in like, I forget the specific term.
Mass extinction?
Yeah, the sixth mass extinction. There's so many species that are disappearing. So this idea of like living off the land, it's not that you can't, it's just that's not the time period we're in right now. Like we live in a time period where like, especially like animals that live off the land in that kind of context, like if hunting doesn't put them towards extinction, just climate change alone will.
Oh yeah, that
right. So I mean, like you're looking at like a very specific thing as well, because like you're imagining your area that we have a McDonald's and a Fat Burger in every block, but I can imagine, Alaska, northern British Columbia, Alberta, Manitoba, Saskatchewan, Ontario, Quebec, all the way across Canada.
I can also tell you
20, 30 million people that don't have access to that because it's so remote. And because you live on the Canadian Shield, or because you live in the tundra where the permafrost is, 15 feet below your feet, you're unable, these agriculture and permaculture techniques you're talking about isn't applicable in places like northern Canada.
What techniques are you thinking about? Because there's
True.
There's internal
true. I do acknowledge.
Well, I mean, I'm talking about cost, right?
Well, I do acknowledge that.
And again, that if we're talking about
wait.
Let Vegan Anarchist talk.
My bad.
I would advocate, even though I would be a hypocrite, to leave those people alone because they're already oppressed enough. But I do feel like our animal consumption is putting tribes all over the world, like in the Amazon, at risk for its extinction. Our animal products have destroyed the Amazon and is kicking natives out of the land. So just from an indigenous perspective, it makes sense to eat less processed meat or meat.
Mm-hmm. And then on top of that, like when we talk about costs, that goes right back to capitalism. Like if you want to talk about the distribution of like resources, like food, that goes straight to capitalism. So if you want to talk about cost, it really has to do with, are we making food for profit or are we making food for communities who need food?
Yeah, right. So these communities, even for the food for these communities, even just if you're looking at like a 0% profit, even the cost to bring in these, like the materials required to even, farm even grow your own vegetables. I mean, the cost to bring those in outweighs the benefit, right?
But that's the thing. Like I said, that's a matter of capitalism. A government can easily fund that. That's not even a thing to think about.
But see, the government can't fund it because the funding comes from tax dollars, right? And then who's being taxed here? We're talking about the middle class is being taxed.
Yes, but under full communism, cost wouldn't even be a factor
in this relationship.
Under full communism, the quote cost.
Okay, one of you at a time. So you did have your turn. All right, thank you. All right, so Daniel, you were going to say something?
Oh no, because survival of the fittest. Like his point, I totally get what he's saying, but like we're literally looking at the whole superstructure of Canada. My bad. Sorry about that. The whole superstructure of how Canada as a country operates. It's a capitalist country. So at the end of the day, when you think about the cost and just providing for these communities, we're really talking about a superstructure that's built on profit. So it's in this, like in the way that Canada is structured right now, yeah, it's completely unfeasible because it doesn't make profit. But if it was based on building up a community, yeah, you would easily fund it. You would set up these communities and they would, again, be self-sustaining. They'd have these farms that could grow their food and have access to food. And so it's really just a matter of looking at how everything is structured rather than just like thinking about this through just simply a cost versus profit analysis.
Yeah, I understand what you're saying there, but like when I look at the immediate, like if we're talking about like now, right? I mean, like the ideal situation down the road in the future would be to have sustainable communities that could grow their own, fruits and vegetables, and they could supply their community and have a sustainable community. But that's not the reality today. So people need to eat today, and people don't have that option. And until the superstructure changes, that's not even a viable option, right? I mean,
yeah, I know that.
I interrupted.
Sorry, go ahead again, Daniel.
I mean, that's definitely something that I 100% agree with, which is that in order for veganism to even be possible, you would have to completely eliminate the capitalist superstructure that makes it impossible.
And
right.
That's
So until that support system is there, you can't call somebody a meat eater unmoral or unethical, because that system, the two options aren't there. So if you're in a situation where you have to eat or you have to provide for your family, and the only way to do that is to go out on the land and hunt. When you look at you can take it from somebody who lives in
you can't tell somebody who,
I'm not disagreeing with you.
Yeah.
I mean, you definitely cannot tell someone who has to hunt to survive that to stop doing that, stop hunting.
Yeah, no, that's irrational.
That's like if you tell homeless people stop sleeping in the streets.
Yeah,
where the fuck are they going to sleep? Are you going to give them a home to sleep in, Mr. Officer?
But no,
end up in your home.
that again.
Oh yeah, I know that. That's why I don't shame Rose. That's why not as a hardcore anti-species, or I am, but I don't judge people like I used to because I know about that. That's why I say we need to destroy the capitalist status world order and patriarchal, because patriarchy feeds into meat eating too.
What I was gonna say.
What's this person's name? Bearded penis?
Bearded
what the hell?
Head down slur on dicks.
There's Dead Viney.
Dead Vinny is cool, yeah.
I was gonna say about the vegan point. Like it's not that under capitalism you can't be vegan.
Oh, hold on. This guy literally has a dick pic as his pic. You must remove him.
Yeah, I already remove that user if you can.
He's not there. He's still there. Rose.
Yeah, I'm trying to eject him.
Anyways, all right, let's hear from this new Dead Viney guy.
Dead Vinny is cool. I've seen it around. Dead Vinny, are you there? Do you have an opinion on the conversation? He's probably having audio problems.
All right. I just wanted to finish up this point real quick. So no, about like capitalism today, right now, like how the superstructure is right now. It's not to say that we can't move towards veganism, because the whole point is to like move away from meat. So it's not to say that like veganism is impossible under capitalism. It's to be fully realized it can't be done under capitalism. So that means like the communities you were talking about, the ones who live off the land and whatnot. I'm not saying they have to abandon that way of life, because one of my biggest things as a vegan is that like food is culture. It's a big part of humanity, and you can't just rip that away. And people who very much view like the consumption of animals as this deeply moral issue, I mean, that's a really liberal way of looking at food, because there's a much bigger tie to community. So I definitely get what Survival of the Fittest is saying, but in the actual context of where we are right now, to move away from meat is just not only going to be like the most sustainable way to get our nutrients to survive and everything that food provides for us, but especially in communities that do exclusively hunt, in order to actually survive as communities, they're going to have access to a food resource that they can grow and harvest, which is why my opinion, as far as like how you deal with this issue, actual like activism from people who have not only the resources to help in those circumstances, like, you know, introduce different like modern farming techniques that can be done in difficult areas. Because again, there are plenty of ways to grow food in some of the most harshest environments. So it's just a matter of using like what we have now to actually move towards veganism, which is the goal anyways, to move towards veganism, not to like assert that everyone must be vegan now.
Right,
again,
exactly.
they have to move at their own pace.
Right. So do you feel that the that the actual goal, I mean, like, is this your personal goal, or like, or objectively, like, do you feel that we're actually moving towards like a no meat veganism society, or is that something that, like, because I mean, sorry,
we're not because in many regions across the world, meat eating is actually going up as they try to copy Western style. But it would be a better world if we didn't consume as much meat as we do, at least.
So it's not that you're opposed to consuming meat, it's just the amount of meat that you're...
Yeah.
Well, I'm more
my main issue is factory farming, if I'm completely honest.
Yeah.
Right.
The raising of animals simply to slaughter them.
Mm-hmm.
My thing is, if you have other alternatives besides eating meat, you shouldn't kill them in the first place.
And
those alternatives, yes.
But okay, so like, let's look at the life cycle of an animal in the wild. You know, like an animal in the wild, its ultimate fate is either he or she will either be torn or ripped apart and eaten by a super predator, or they'll have some infectious disease and die a slow, painful death of infection disease. Like that, like animals, it's not Disneyland. Animals don't live in the wild and have these wonderful lives that prance and run and, you know, frolic through the woods all day long. They're constantly under stress. They're constantly being hunted. They're constantly on the lookout. So a high precision rifle.
It's a different kind of stress though, isn't it?
Sorry?
Oh, hey.
Dead Vinny, okay, we can hear you, but you're a bit low right now, so.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. To answer Survival of the Fittest, I mean, life is more complicated than that. There's a lot of different types of life and lots of relationships as far as the food chain is concerned. So it's really not that black and white, but more specifically, just I don't think. Oh, you mean there's detritus feeders, there's scavengers, there's different kinds of
Like, yeah, like you say, like it's not.
There's far more herbivores than there are carnivores. I mean, there wouldn't be carnivores if it was an equal split. So like the majority of animals that we think of in a mammal sense, as well as like. Hello, another person.
American anarchist Mugwump.
For a second.
Being cool.
Don't worry, we're still.
I like your channel.
Yeah, Americans Mugwump. I just watched your anarchist.
You call Mugwump, anarchist Mugwump.
Cigarettes, not.
I like your most recent video of Mugwump. But anyway, back to that man's animations point about like.
Oh right, because like life is just more complicated. There's different types of relationships, like parasites. You have hydrodinians. I can never say it. Bloodsuckers, people who just like take other people's resources. So there's different relationships that animals have with each other. So it's not specifically a like I have to kill an animal in order to like survive. And again, that doesn't even factor in plants, which are a giant part of this conversation of life. Which again, they don't even eat. Well, not all plants. There are carnivorous plants, but most plants.
Stop being fly traps.
Yeah, I said there are carnivorous plants. But
yeah, I know. That's why I was shocked.
He's making a
joke.
Definitely. But no, just there's many different relationships, so it's not so cut and dry. But the big thing is that our relationship in like the here and now in our modern society is one where meat production is done for market-based exchange. It's not done for consumption. And so that's the biggest like contradiction that has to be dealt with. And it's not to say that like certain lifestyles that have been around for thousands of years, which again are very important to communities and very culturally significant and should be acknowledged as such. It's to say that they need to move, not them specifically, also the people that move beyond that kind of
you're
at our own pace, basically.
Yourself a little bit.
Daniel, could you expand on that comment you just made that meat consumption meat production isn't for consumption, it's for what, sorry?
It's for market-based exchange. That's just basic capitalism right there. We are producing meat for.
We produce way more meat than we even actually eat.
Right. Yeah. So is the issue about the production, or is it about waste? Because we overproduce because we
3% of our food.
Yeah, 100%. We're an extremely wasteful society, especially like Western culture is extremely wasteful.
Oh yeah, and see that's what I mean. It's like we don't produce for the sole idea of that like. Oh no, we're gonna have like a famine soon because we don't have enough food. No, it's the exact opposite. We have so much food that we waste it, and so that's the whole point. And especially when you talk about all the actual resources that go into making meat a consumable product and how much it's put into just about every kind of food you can think of.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, like I kind of disagree with that statement because I mean, obviously, as humans, as a species, we need to eat. So I mean. The base fundamental purpose for food obviously is not financial. It's to sustain life, and then once life is sustained, then we move into the financial component.
Not really.
Well, yeah, obviously, I mean, like, we need to eat food to live, right?
Yeah. Capitalism doesn't value human life unless there's an exchange for it.
But capitalism wouldn't be there without human life, and food is essential in order for human life to exist and to move forward as a species. So we need to eat first primarily before we do anything. Like when I wake up in the morning time, I eat food before I go out to make money to support the capital markets, right? And I'm sure we all do. So I mean, food first.
Continue. I'm sorry, I interrupted.
Yeah, sorry. So food is there first to be eaten, but I think the issue is how wasteful we are, and the reason why we're producing so much food is more of a societal issue versus a capitalist issue.
What is our society though? Because I agree with that statement, but what is our society? I saw that. Conquest by bread. I saw that.
That's what that's about. It's about like making sustainable society and like having food that's sustainable first, the primary product of revolution.
Yeah, capitalism left on its own devices is not sustainable in of itself. It requires the state in order to be sustained.
Right.
I mean, its entire basis is to support an infinite market in a finite universe.
Mm-hmm.
Like it's fundamentally like doesn't work like that.
and it requires the like ever like exponential expansion of capital, which that's not really feasibly possible in a lot of ways.
I think humans, as a species, are just transitioning through a very weird time where we don't have that threat of famine. We forget about the Great Depression of 1930. That was so far ago.
Capitalism.
I don't deny it. I mean,
there are still people starving, and there are still Americans earning less than $3 a day.
100%. I completely agree with you there. But I think collectively, as like I'm just talking about like Western culture right now. That we live in an area that where we're not threatened. We don't like my grandparents, for an example. Like I grew up going down into my grandparents' pantry where they had food bottled and canned because when times were good, they anticipated the times would be bad, so they would prepare, they would store food because that was a reality. In today's world, we're 9 meals from anarchy. If the stores closed tomorrow, we had a big global economic collapse. Most people only have enough food in their fridge to sustain themselves for for like 3 days, about 9 meals, and
But that has everything to do with capitalist alienation because we as individuals don't really own the means of production. They're held by a very specific group of people. So that's why it's like that. It's not that we don't have the ability to like feed ourselves. It's that the people who control the food supply is a very small group of people. And like I said, it's based on market exchange, not about consumption of like resources.
But the reason why you're in that situation is, or not you, sorry, but the reason why we're in that situation as a society is because we allowed ourselves to be in that situation to depend upon this very capital system to support, our idea to be even, veganism, like I say, is a first world luxury. The only reason why we're talking about this now is because we don't have to go out as a, society to hunt our food anymore. Food is overly mass produced.
It's a first world thing. There are many cultures that have like traditions of veganism, and generally there are a lot of places in the world that like practice veganism.
Could you just give me a specific example? Because I actually don't know any.
Thailand does, India does.
Sorry, where?
Thailand does, India does.
But I think that's more vegetarian versus veganism.
There are cultures that eat over 90% of their calories from plants, actually.
Yeah, and again, it's a movement away from meat. It's not to say that like you have to be completely non-meat because again, that's not the case in all circumstances. There is that nuance there. Again, if you
I'm not against like in like lab-grown meats if done right.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Culture meats. Yeah.
Yeah, culture meats.
What do you think about insect products? Like I've read articles that said like
I think it's much more sustainable.
Yeah, I agree.
Oh, I support insect as well. I know that there's actually insect protein you can buy that is, very bioavailable. So it's actually more bioavailable than what most meat products are.
But also if you think of it, generally when it comes to insects versus, animals like cows, for example, over 80% of the world they eat insects.
Right.
Only about 20% of the world eats stuff like beef.
Yeah.
Like stuff.
Just from my perspective, it's like I'm pretty sure there's a vegan who knows more about this issue than me. But from what I know, it's just because we like in the West, like we don't really consume insects like that. But from the ones we do, a lot of them are from very diminished communities. So like bees, for example, like a lot of honey, like it's. I'm not an expert on this, but like our relationship to bees generally isn't exactly the most healthy for them.
No, it's not healthy for them or even for the rest of the environment, in fact, because honeybees actually, what they do is they outcompete like other pollinators.
Yeah.
Simply because they have human assistants.
Yes, exactly.
They have human assistants to basically outcompete bumblebees and outcompete other animals that don't produce honey. And the way we see it is, they don't produce honey, so fuck them.
Yeah, bumblebees just got added to the endangered species list. That is very interesting, actually.
Which is another case of capitalism or humans valuing nature for what it can give us rather than for its own intrinsic sake.
Yeah,
Right.
exactly. So yeah, the problem again is stems back to capitalism and the exploitative nature of
The commodification of it is really the big issue.
Mhm. Yes.
When people were doing it just to survive, it was completely fine. But when people started commodifying it, that was when it really became an issue.
Yes, the commodification of nature, as well as just like bare necessities of food and shelter and all this stuff. Yes, that's the problem with it.
Right, but it's a double-edged sword because it's that action that actually gives us the option to talk about what we're talking about here today.
What do you mean?
What I mean is, like you said, that as long as people were utilizing animals as a primary food source for survival, it was fine.
No.
And now you say. And then you said that, like once it became a commodity, then that's when the problem is, because now there's overconsumption of it. And now it doesn't have the same moral or ethical base to it.
Because we live in a different society. Again,
Well, we don't all live in a different society.
They had a different context for their society. So they weren't living beyond their means. In many cases, they lived within their means, not like beyond them. And so again, it's that relationship in society.
Mugwump, can you mute yourself?
Yeah, we're hearing background noises.
Sorry.
No problem. Okay, there we go.
All right. But yeah, it's just the context of where we are right now. It's not to say that back then that like their ways were condemned, because again, that was survival in a very particular way. And again, they lived within their means as a community. With the other thing being they also traded. It wasn't like some of these communities were completely isolated. They did trade.
100%, but let's kind of like look at like a time context here. Like, I mean, like when you say back, are you talking like a century ago, or are you talking about currently in 2018 and like the vast majority of like the northern hemisphere that this way of life is still lived, and it's really only the equatorial communities that are in the position that where they don't need to farm or they don't need to hunt anymore.
I'm sorry, could you say that again? I'm a little confused.
Yeah, I'm a little confused too.
All right, so okay. So I kind of feel that we keep referring back to the old days, back when people had to hunt to survive, but there's still the majority of Canada, for an example. Like, I can only speak because I'm from Canada, but like the majority of Canadians still hunt for food because like that's a way of life. We don't all have the options. Like, I know that the majority of you guys live in the US, and to you guys maybe in California or like other parts that what I'm referring to might have been a century ago, but what I'm referring to is modern day life in 2018 in Canada. That's still a requirement in order to sustain life, to sustain communities. So not everybody has that option to be able to afford food. Not everybody has the option to be able to grow food, given the remoteness
Which is why we ought to fight capitalism in the first place.
Yes, exactly.
I want to address this point. So I get what you're saying. Do you know about a channel called Mexi? She does other stuff too.
She's great, yeah.
Oh yeah,
I've
great.
Never heard of her. No.
She's really
fabulous.
She does a lot of really good structural analysis, and she's also Canadian, I believe.
Yes, she is.
Yeah.
Is she Canadian?
Yes, she is.
From Toronto.
Okay. Yeah.
She lives in the southern part of Canada, so the weather's more akin to like where I live in New England, where we have some problems growing plants where I live, which is why there's a food desert.
Right. But
which is why I occasionally myself have to go and eat meat.
Yeah.
Just because sometimes I can't afford vegetables.
Yeah, there's that, and then that's goes back to like capitalism of like it's not the problem of, it's a problem of distribution and
exactly.
Distribution.
That's what I was gonna get to. I was bringing up Mexi to get to that point. Which it's a matter of distribution when we talk about stuff like that, because Canada is pretty solidly a first world country. So like, the fact that these communities exist the way you're describing them, I'm not saying I don't believe you. That's not what I'm saying at all. What I'm saying is that I feel like there's more to this.
It's a condemnation of that really kind of shows that it's more of a condemnation of how capitalism operates, and the fact that even though Canada is a first world country, they can't distribute enough resources to
A certain community.
feed that community, and that community has to go out and hunt.
Right.
Yeah, exactly.
Because
so-
everything is profit driven as opposed to simply trying to sustain communities.
Yes, because we're in a profit-based society with capitalism instead of a need-based society.
Yeah, exactly.
Another problem is the way we like eat meat is like just really, really inefficient. Like we value certain cuts of meat over like all others.
Oh yeah,
so, like,
everybody wants the everyone wants the ribeye. Nobody wants the cheap $2 steak.
Right. Right, but that's not a capitalist issue. That's a societal issue because we're so
it's a capitalist
wasteful.
one.
Right, because we had the options. When I open up my freezer and I only have blade steaks left, I have no choice but to eat blade steaks, as opposed to if I go to a grocery store or go to a butcher shop and I have an option to only buy tenderloins, backstraps, or strip loins, and that's what I'm going to buy because it's a societal based, like that's society. Like we had that option. I don't need to go out and trek back into the backwoods for 3 days, dispatch an animal, butcher the animal, pack that meat on my back, hike back out 3 days. There's a different relationship with food when you actually physically go hunt it yourself. You consume it. There's a different relationship as opposed to going to the grocery store.
I completely agree with what you're saying.
Hold on. Dead Viddy was about to make a point. I want to give Dead Viddy the chance to talk.
Yeah, he has to talk. My bad.
Well,
Of course.
in a sense, I think we are talking in circles, kind of, because
I agree.
we're saying the same things over and over again. You say the West, you say first world countries. I live in what they call now developing country, and meat is not like. I mean, you can say as animals is essential, but I don't think that we couldn't do without it and the meat actually is a kind of a luxury here.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Right. I guess my whole point is the reason why
it is in fact a luxury for most of the world and for most of human history. In fact, for most communities, because even early hominids and early humans had to rarely eat meat at least once a week.
Yeah, it took a lot of effort.
Right.
Most of their diet came from plants and early grains
before
they became farmed.
Right, and also,
I mean, but hunting does become. But I mean, especially considering like what it was like before. I mean, it's still like that now because of the matters of distribution, as we've talked about. In places like Canada, it is, or like in the Northwest Territories of Canada, it is, the permafrost, as Survival of the Fittest said, it's like 15 feet below the ground. With the way that food is distributed in Canada, it's really only when you're in the remote parts of Canada. The reason why meat isn't a luxury there is because meat is literally all that's available as far as food goes.
Yes, exactly.
So you obviously have like completely different conditions there.
Right.
Yeah, because here, well, I live in Peru, and the culture here is the natives were the Incas, so they are a culture that is kind of famous for having andenes and ways to harvest food even when it's very cold. So, and these techniques are very, very old. I don't think it's much of a problem that.
Yeah. And keep in mind, those are old techniques. Like we have more modern scientific.
We got heat lamps. We got greenhouses. Those can.
We definitely have techniques in the modern day that could work, but I mean, really, like I said, it comes down to an issue of distribution, which is something that Daniel was pointing out earlier.
The thing is with like heat lamps and greenhouses is that they're like really quite cheap.
Yeah.
So distributing them to like communities like could be like a very viable option, but it's just not.
It doesn't generate profit.
Right.
So
Yeah, exactly. In this, if it costs us money or doesn't make us money or does both, people but people with power, I'm not going to do that. Is the problem with the capitalist system. So that's why those things are not done, and which is why we got to overthrow capitalism eventually.
Well, see,
not eventually.
Like again, like not to talk in circles, but greenhouses do not work in the Northern Hemisphere. I'm sorry. 6 months a year in Alaska, Yukon, Northwest Territories, and Nunavut, there's 4 hours of daylight. How is a greenhouse going to work?
Yeah, but for those 6 months, we can still distribute food that to those regions if we want to. But the problem is
it's the cost. If any one of you guys just want to Google like the cost of milk in Nunavut, Northwest, or Nunavut, Canada, or the cost of food, I mean, like you're talking like $15 a liter, right, for milk. So no, I mean, like it's not something that we shake our head at and put our hands up. I mean, that's the reality. The cost to get it there. I mean, most of these communities don't have access by or road access. They're all fly-in communities. So you need to put food on a charter plane and fly it into a community, and the cost associated with that is ridiculous. And most of these communities,
under the current system of capitalism, yes,
do have government subsidized programs for these people that are in the community, and it's still, $15 for milk, $20 for, a dozen eggs.
The capitalism. Anyway, Devviddy wants to say something. I'll give Devviddy a chance.
It's kind of weird for me to hear again this to hear you talk about food and all these kinds of things because we export a lot of food to countries like yours, and we actually get the remnants, the ripple, if you will, of what we make, because you pay more for it, and we end up with having to pay a lot for things that we actually produce here, and at times it's very weird.
Doesn't quinoa come from
Peru,
if I'm correct?
Yeah. Quinoa, yes. Potato, papa. Well, you can grow those anywhere.
Oh, papa, yeah.
So I just want to ask some random geek a question. So what's the opposite, like from your opinion? Like you keep referring back to capitalism. Everything is capitalism. Your whole place of being is about throwing over, anti-capitalism, overcome capitalism. So what's the alternative? Like, what's your ideal model? I just kind of want to hear what
libertarian socialism / anarchism is our motto.
I agree with those. Yeah.
Fully automated gay communism.
Hey. So maybe that's the reason why I don't I never realized what I got myself into when I joined this conversation. I just randomly came across your guys' page, jumped in here. So like you guys come from a socialism communism base.
Yeah, this is generally
and
okay. Well, that's a whole different conversation.
Yes. Also, if we focus on the sort of points that survival makes, they tend to be problems with, yes, you said distribution, but also you tend to talk about marginalized sectors of the world or of certain countries. And this really touches something and makes me feel really weird, because a lot of people talk about marginalized people when it suits them in a sense that to contradict certain points, and then they forget about us.
Yeah, that is fair.
This isn't a situation where I'm using these examples to suit me. I'm using a situation because this is my reality. Just as your reality in your situation, you guys have a McDonald's and Fatburger every block.
My reality, I'm literally just a few miles from the border.
Right, most of the cities along the border.
Produce gets imported from Mexico, or at least avocados do.
Avocados.
I love avocados.
Yeah, I need to cook more with avocados.
Millennials and their avocados.
So what's the pros and cons of a socialist communist society? Why do you think that is better than a capitalist society? Like, what do you think?
Because it's a society beyond capitalism. That's all.
Well, also, I will also give my perspective of like why I kind of came to like, you know what, I think we need to like go to socialism, go to communism, and stuff like that. Is and as well as anarchism is that like it does it's a system with the reasonable values that everyone should have the basic rights of access to food, shelter, healthcare, water, everything. Everyone gets an equal chance to like live, and for those who need more, they can get it and stuff like that. Whereas like it's not a system that's just lets people die just because they can't pay to live, essentially.
Right.
Okay, so you're coming from more of like a universal based necessity. I don't want to say
my perspective,
income, but like so like you want to have a society that universal based necessities of life are provided for everyone equally.
But isn't that right?
Can I give my perspective?
Go ahead, Vegan.
Can you let Dead Vinny go first?
As someone who's
no, go Vegan.
As someone who is an ex-right libertarian, ex-conservative, I joined the libertarian socialist movement because I realized that capitalism, just like the government, rejects freedom, and that only when you can have all these necessities and needs met is when you can actually have true freedom.
Yeah, exactly. I agree with that. Yeah, that's
and true liberty.
Yes,
and equality.
Yes, you cannot have freedom of speech if you cannot speak because you're dying, essentially. And so under the current system, you can't die if you can't afford to, and that part I think is ridiculous, and that's why I think we need to move beyond capitalism, because it is not a sustainable system.
And it's also environmentally destructive, which is why I'm a green anarchist.
Yes, exactly.
So what current model? So what current global model are you in support of? Is there any current global model that you're in support of?
There are some global models who are kind of warm to like the Zapatismo, but they're not perfect, and we recognize that. So we have close proximities, but we don't have an actual like anarchist society like we have in Spain, so we can't really say for right now.
There is although Dead Vinny also had a perspective too.
On what?
You were.
I would say the closest would be like the Zapatistas, just for me.
In Mexico.
For me speaking, yeah.
Yeah, but I think the response to capitalism or to overthrow or get a better system is not precisely one that is all-encompassing in a sense, because every place has its own like strengths and weaknesses, if you will. So in this sense, anarchism will be very like would fit very, very well, because it would
we also just that. I feel like we need a global yet autonomous and at the same time localist and international revolt against capitalism. Like we have to have global solidarity between the working classes and marginalized people, but we must also fight locally and also within our own struggles of everyday life, which is most important.
Right. So what's it going to take for that to happen? I mean, like we're talking about a Gene Roddenberry Star Trek experience here.
So for me,
yes, and it takes a lifetime of work, essentially. And also, we also all recognize that like capitalism overthrowing is not possible within our lifetime, but we strive for a anarchist and anarcho-communist society or libertarian socialist society where everyone has true freedom and true liberty because all the basic needs are all met and stuff like that.
But socialism and communism is not a truly free society.
Can I say something real quick?
Well, you're talking about state socialism of the USSR and Cuba, but those aren't actually socialists. What happened is the government became the new capitalist class. So it's still capitalism, but with the government being the capitalist. Same shit.
Even if you want to add the USSR as actual communism, which a lot of you guys seem not to consider.
And also by definition, communism
I'm not getting into it. Like,
I mean, they weren't communists. They were socialists. Like, communism.
No, they weren't socialists.
I'm not getting into the definition actually, but the point is, if you are as Marx and Lenin and all these leftist thinkers thought about the development of progress history in the world, they didn't think. They thought in a dialectical way, kind of, sort of.
Yeah, no,
whatever that means. So, so the USSR was, if you want to consider them communist, actually, was a phase in which the state became the capitalist force of the nation, basically. But it wasn't the ultimate phase. So
also,
it's not.
Socialism is an oxymoron.
What?
State socialism is an oxymoron.
Yeah, state socialism is an oxymoron. I agree. But
sure.
definitely
the point was that it was not finalized.
I'm not sure we can get into another topic just because I'm thinking about
can I survival to the fittest? Because I just wanted to make a point real quick.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, I think we should. Yeah, I think we should finish on this topic, and then I'd like to wrap it up because it's been over 2 hours.
But yeah,
and don't forget to subscribe to my channel. Also.
If you have a channel, please post it in the chat just so people can follow y'all. But
I'm on my phone. Can someone do it for me?
I'll do it for you.
Thanks.
And when you upload this, try to put our channels in the comments, or not the comments. The
description.
Description, yeah, my bad. But no, survival of the fittest. I just wanted to get to what you were saying about like socialism and communism. So like, even in leftist circles, like it's a very big discussion about like what's going on and like what constitutes these various different societies. But the main thing is that the goal ultimately is to do away with this system for its failings in the same way that we did with feudalism and slave societies before it. So it's to address these fundamental contradictions in our society. And it's to say that communism, at least because I'm a communist, like the whole point is not to like create this society of our imagination, but to actually build that better society. And that when we don't have states, we aren't run on markets, when we don't live in the the mechanisms of the old world, and we've moved beyond that, and we are truly like a communal human society, like on a global scale, then we have communism. And that's the thing. It's a goal. It's not that one society alone, like one state, is going to be communist. No, if communism is a thing that is achieved, it's a global thing. We won't have these divisions by states or these particular markets or anything like that. So that's all I wanted to say. Just to
I kind of disagree. I see it more of a communization angle, in that communism is something you do, and it's something that we do in the moment, and not just a goal at the beginning.
Yeah. Yeah, I see anarchy as the society I see, or it's just like it's a work in progress, as life is just a work in progress anyway. And I'm working towards a more freer society, more equal society, a more prosperous society where everyone has all their basic needs, some more than others,
and ecologically sustainable.
Yes.
Right.
Oh, yeah, that too. Yeah.
And how I was describing it, I don't want to make it seem like I'm saying a definitive kind of society. That's the biggest thing. It's a goal to work towards. And when we don't have those, like when we don't have these market-based systems at all, that's when we have, at least from my perspective, reached communism, because we've done away with capitalism, just like we did away with feudalism and slave society.
In my perspective, the society also has to be stateless.
Yeah, that too.
Yeah,
which basically means the USSR is the exact opposite of communism.
But that's the thing. It was a thing that happened. I mean, this is a completely different argument. I'm not going to try to jump into that. But yeah, we obviously don't agree on everything. Survival of the fittest.
Yeah, no, guys, and I appreciate you allowing me to come into this chat, today, and everybody to openly, discuss your ideas. So I do appreciate that, and I do thank you all for having the conversation.
No problem. It actually meant that the chat was kind of structured instead of hopping from topic to topic and then bouncing back to another topic. And all right, so does anybody else have anything to say? Or
I would like to say that the left isn't. When people say the left is eating itself, Well, first of all, people say it's a hive mind, but have you ever been in any leftist forums? They're constantly bickering over the smallest detail. It's anything but a hive mind.
Yeah, the left is not a monolith. There's a lot of sectarianism, if that's the correct term I'm looking for. Yeah, there's a lot of different groups. Yeah,
hyper sectarian.
Yes,
the diversity of thought.
All right. Well, I'm gonna wrap this up. So, what I meant by this is so. I'm assuming that's like the end of it, unless Vinny would like to say something. Vinny wasn't here for very long.
No, I just got here. It was very late, actually. So I'm sorry about that.
I really like. I appreciate
it's no problem. I mean, the whole point of an open chat is that you can join at any point and don't need to feel bad about it. So yeah, anything what's the word I'm thinking?
Final thoughts.
Damn, I'm sorry. I worked over 50 hours this week, but
no. An American life.
Yeah, the American life. Work 3 jobs, 2 jobs to make ends meet, or work.
Crap. What's the word?
Final thoughts.
Outros. Any outros or what was it?
Tags, reps, whatever.
Self-promotion, whatever.
Well, self-promotion. Everyone, subscribe to the Vegan Anarchist.
Yeah, and spoil me on Patreon.
Yes, support Vegan Anarchist on Patreon. I am some random geek. I do movie reviews on my channel. Sometimes I do political stuff. Sometimes I do video games, let's plays and stuff like that. And I just posted one today of my Ocean Safe review. Yes, I do a review for a movie that was released a month ago.
And
Dead Man's Animation. Subscribe to Dead Man's Animations channel.
Yeah, subscribe to my channel. I do not have any subscribers. Okay, I have some, but not over 100. So if you could send me those subs. So
I'll definitely throw a sub your way.
And then
do you prefer meatball or chicken? No.
But no, definitely check out my stuff. I have some content up. I cut some clips from a documentary called Hypocrisy that talks about American history and its class conflicts. So I'm going to post a lot more stuff. I also make food. I have a video of me making a vegan meal. And cool. I'm going to be posting some animation soon when I get the chance. But yeah, definitely thank you, American Anarchist, for letting me on. This is really awesome.
No problem. I enjoyed having you on here.
Also, somebody tells that freedom thing to include me next time because I'm pissed at him.
Yes, let's all talk to the people that made that one article. They should have included the Vegan Anarchist in the list of anarchist YouTubers on YouTube, and but also
in the list of recommended anarchist channels.
Exactly, and another anarchist channel that everyone should subscribe to: Anarchist Mugwump. They produce an excellent channel. I just saw their most recent video of I forgot the name of it. It was about pride.
Pride, yeah. Spectacle of rainbow capitalism.
And definitely subscribe to the Bronx Blogger. Shout out to him. His
channel is great. I just saw a movie on Friday that just released on Friday. Sorry to bother you. It's
it's great.
Oh,
I
yes.
love that. I've been following that ever since Boots announced that he was going to do a movie, and I was just like, yes, it's really good.
It's totally anti-capitalist too, as well. Yes.
Oh, yeah.
That's it. That's it for me.
All right.
Vinny, do you have a channel? I don't know if you have a channel.
Well, technically, I have a channel, but I don't have any content.
He has, man. They have a channel just like everyone that has a YouTube account has a channel.
I mean, I literally made my first video for this channel before I before I even had this channel.
Actually, I have another
with, and that was under my name. So
I also have 2 channels more that I'm planning on posting videos on, and one of them I already posted 2 or 3, or the Bread Pilled Witch, and the other one is Princess Cressida, which I haven't posted that one yet, but I'm planning on doing fashion and beauty stuff and kink stuff. So
all right,
that's cool.
Well, I'm gonna. So
just wanted to say sorry I didn't say that much or contribute that much. I'm just kind of hanging.
It's no problem.
I was at a wedding.
Oh, what's your channel again?
Anarchist Mudwomp.
All right, I gotta check out your stuff. Definitely.
And please subscribe to American Anarchist because he deserves 1,000 subscribers. Actually, that'll be criminally underrated.
Agreed.
Definitely.
All right. So I will see you all later. Thanks for stopping by and watching this, and thank you to Survival for coming in and talking about veganism.
Yeah, thank you guys. Appreciate it. I enjoyed the conversation today.
Even a whole channel on veganism. So
I'll see you at the next hangout, and hopefully there's not 6 weeks in between it, especially since I plan to switch jobs, so shouldn't be working 55-hour weeks from now on.
Yep.
Good luck with that, man.
All right.